Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes turn around, Maggie. Every now and then I fall apart. Such good
Cause I
songs in these
need you.
episodes. I need you now tonight.
I need you more than ever. Bro, when this song came on, I lost it. I was like, I know this is supposed to be a sad moment, but this shit is funny.
They have interesting not only song choices, but moments of when they play the songs.
Oh yeah. Did you hear The Boy Is Mine?
Okay. Why is
The
it?
boy is mine.
I did
But it's
hear
always
that.
like a different version of The Boy Is Mine.
Always a different version. And we could potentially cut this out, but I'm like, is Love Island being low-key low racist?
Or maybe they can't buy the rights. I know you have to pay for songs.
But I feel like
Maybe
they only ever play that if it's two like black women talking about a guy.
I'm dead. You're right. Two for two.
Now, granted, we haven't watched any other seasons, so maybe, but I'm just like, this is interesting.
That's kind of funny. I'm
It's
dead. That's hilarious.
it's a little
Huh.
like
But I mean, there's, well, I don't know who sings it. I was about to say.
it's Brandy and Monica
No, I
originally.
mean who's singing it here.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird
Um,
version of it.
that's
Both
so
have been weird
funny.
versions,
Because
but
it was Dea
alas,
and Serena, and now it's Rachel and
Justine.
Justine.
And I'm like, is this the only song they know?
Love Island, you're so cheeky if that's
You're so cheeky, Love Island.
I think it's funny. I don't know
It's
if I would call it racist, but
not racist, but
it's just an interesting coincidence. I mean, it just so happens. I mean, but they could have played it for anybody, right? They could have played it for Mackenzie and Lauren. They could have played it for Kiersten and Lauren, right?
but they
Like when they
didn't.
were having, but they didn't. They only.
They could have, but
I'm
they
dead. This is
didn't.
a good theory. I like your hypothesis. Now we need to do the project. Now we need to do our
I,
research and
don't know.
find
Should
out.
we keep that in? I'm not trying to call Love Island out and say
I
something. I'm
think we
just saying I've noticed a
should. A trend.
pattern, a trend, and I was just like, huh. Because as you just said, there was plenty of other instances where they
Where
could
they
have
could
played
play
it,
the song and they didn't.
but they were like, no.
We are too observant for our own good. There are a lot of moments this episode where I was like, wait, what? And they just move on. And I'm like, pause, hold the phone. What is happening here?
Right. And a lot of we are way too observant for our own good, but also a lot of moments in these episodes where it was just like if I hear this same conversation or if I hear Carrington say one more time, I'm just like waiting and I'm just seeing like I don't know if I'm all in and da 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 da. I don't like him. Just
He literally
making putting that
says
out
to
there.
Lauren in every discussion, I think I want to get to know you more, and I'm definitely interested in getting to know you. Yeah, Carrington, we get it. I don't know, man. Yeah, he is a little annoying.
But like also they like everyone on the show, they talk about wanting to get to know each other, but like they don't get to know each other. Like it's just them saying, I want to get to know you. Well, why don't you have a conversation right now getting to know? You know what I mean?
Right. I'm confused. Like, I think they have jobs that they go to or something because two times in episode 9, someone references not having enough time. And I'm like, what else are you doing here in the hotel villa that you can't leave?
Are
Like,
there secret 9 to 5s that we don't know
right, that
about?
we don't are you guys all working from home? Just let us know. Because Rachel's like, we barely have time as it is. Barely.
You
Bitch,
guys
what
just
are
sit
y'all doing
around
in
all
the villa?
day.
What's happening? And then somebody else referenced, like, oh, we haven't had time. Mackenzie said she didn't have time to talk to Connor one day. Girl, what? Wow. What have
And
you, what were you
Lord
doing your
knows she
hair?
had something to say. Mind you, though, y'all, I'm not to say I'm Team Mackenzie, but I'm
Oh, they
not
gaslit
as
her.
mad at her as
Not at
before.
all. We're
I'll say
Brandon,
that.
I think what we should do is walk through our thought process as we go through these because at the beginning I was like, they're really trying to make her look crazy. And I've been wrong before. When it came to, what was that guy's name? The big forehead guy from Love Island. I mean, Love is
Oh,
Blind.
Jimmy?
Jimmy. And what was the
Yes.
girl's name?
Chelsea.
Jimmy and I thought Chelsea was batshit, and I said it, and
You
I
did.
ate my
And
words.
it's
I
not
was
to,
dead
well,
wrong.
I mean, you weren't, I don't think you were,
Well,
I think even she would say you weren't wrong, but
but I
you
was wrong. How I
you were a
saw,
little
I
wrong
didn't.
about Jimmy.
I was definitely wrong about Jimmy. I was like, Jimmy's minding his own business. Meanwhile, he was saying a whole nother thing, right? So
Hmm.
now, I mean, I always try to have a little bit of like, okay, I know I'm not seeing the whole story, but this episode in particular, when Mackenzie started talking, I was like, I need to know what is making her develop these conclusions, because she's not pulling that he's her boyfriend out of her ass. Like,
Yeah, it's not like she's making this up,
mm-hmm.
and I think we got a peek into it. I'm so curious. I like because I don't want to do it yet because I don't want any spoilers, even though I know who wins because this season's so old. And like, but I'm like, I want to go back like on Reddit or Twitter. I want to see like
Oh, and see what
what were
people were
people
saying.
saying? Like, were they like fully against Mackenzie, or do they also see that like what's his
Brandon.
name? Connor was like crazy.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for Mackenzie, episode 6, 7, and 8 make her look crazy. And then
Yeah.
finally we get to episode 9 and we see the full story. And I'm like, America, you guys sent this man on a date. And
W-
this girl was freaking out in the villa. Meanwhile, he has a reason to not necessarily have the big reactions that she does, but he was saying two different things.
He
I think there's
was.
something wrong with him.
No, like
I
I'm
think
like,
Connor has I think he's a pathological liar. Cause what?
yeah, and I'm like, and we'll get more into it, but when people are like, I just feel so bad for him, he's so scared to be himself. I'm like, okay, let's pump the brakes on Mackenzie a little bit. She'll just be whiny and annoying and like storm off. It's not
Right.
like she's like it's annoying. It's
Mm-hmm.
bizarre, but it's not like she's not like going Hulk and like flipping the jacuzzi or
Right.
like throwing people in fire pits in the like fire pit ceremony. It's just she's just annoying,
Exactly.
you know?
Like, and then when she is confronted, she actually takes the feedback in and we kind of see her apply it. Like, oh, she's a little more self-aware now. She's doing a
Yeah.
little bit better. So I think I said this last time we talked about this. I was like, she doesn't have all the information she needs to like understand what's going on, you know? And I
Yeah,
feel like now she kind of does. And now we do, low key.
we do. And I will say, because when she was on Summer House, and I'm going to be talking about Summer House kind of a lot in these episodes, because the
Wait,
way
who
that
was on Summer House?
Mackenzie was on for like an episode or two, because she was dating Carl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was on for like, I think it just an episode or two. She like came down for like a party or something.
Oh,
And she was very like chill and like seemed very like calm, I guess. I don't know. She just seemed like cool. So kind of seeing her here be like not that, I was like,
what's
is it
going
just we didn't
on?
see enough, or did maybe you change?
I mean, yeah, I mean, she's probably more mature now too.
Yeah, because it was because this was the summer of what, 2020? I
This
think
was, yeah.
when they filmed when she was on, I think it was the summer of 2021. So a full year after.
Oh,
So
wow.
maybe she was able to watch herself and see how like and
Yeah.
change. Because like you just said, she's kind of been changing in the villa and is
Hmm.
reflecting. So
It
dare I
is.
say, is this journey and this experience changing Mackenzie for the better?
She's evolving. She's maturing.
I think she's on Love Island
Uh,
Games. So eventually,
oh,
if we
really?
decide to go over Love Island Games, that'd
I,
be
I I feel
interesting
like
to
we
see.
have to watch at least one season just to see how it goes.
Well, there is only one season.
Oh, really? They've only
So
did it
perfect. Yeah,
once?
they only did it once, and then they just renewed for season two.
Oh,
But
look at
that's not even
that.
coming until next year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I feel like they kind of did her wrong. And I'm glad the edit changed up a little bit.
Yeah, they're it's just It's a lot. We're gonna get into it, but before we do, hey y'all, I'm Brandon.
Oh, hello. I'm
Hello there.
Magdala.
This is
Good
the shade of it
morrow.
all.
Good
Good
evening.
morrow.
Good evening.
Before we jump into these episodes, because we're going up over Love Island USA season 2, we're on that
hmm
journey, and we're doing episodes 9 and 10. Episode 9 was very
hmm
long.
Oh
So
my
this is gonna be
gosh.
a jam-packed episode. But before we get into it, Maggie, was there anything you'd like to share with the class?
I just wanted to share a brief life update and throw some shade at myself.
Oh.
Because we're all fair game here. This is the shade of it all. We're throwing shade. Um, but I gotta give it to myself too. So, Brandon, you
Hmm.
know how I recently, not so recently, almost 4 months ago, fell and broke my toe. Wait, 3 months ago? It was in June 1st. Wait, May 30th, May
So one,
31st.
3 months ago.
3 months ago, I fell, I broke my toe. It took me 6 weeks to go to the doctor, and my doctor did not really give me like a whole treatment plan, right? I mean, he
Hmm.
did. He was like, put this thing in your shoe. And he was like, what do you do for work? And I was like, oh, I sit at a desk all day. And he's like, okay, well, make sure you're not doing exercises that bend your foot. I didn't consider that him asking me what I do for work could be like maybe if I told him I work on my feet or something, he would say, maybe don't spend long hours on your feet. Would you conclude that? Because he asked me, what do you do for work? I said, I work at a desk. And then he didn't say anything else. So I've not been working out, but if I have to go somewhere and do something, I'm just gonna be on my feet all day. I'm not gonna try to sit down.
Yeah.
And I was today thinking maybe that's stupid because since the baby shower on Saturday, my foot hurts so bad, like so bad. Like it hurts
Why?
really bad. And I'm thinking because I'm not supposed to be. Listen, y'all, I went to Busch Gardens. I went to a whole theme park. Like I
Well,
have been on my
I don't
feet.
know why you did that. That was
And and that I guess Busch Gardens wasn't so bad because I wore my running shoes, but for the baby shower, I was wearing flat Converse, which have like
Did you
no
have your
support.
insoles on?
It was in it. So all he told me to do was wear an insole, right? So it's in my shoe. I'm wearing it, but he never told me don't spend long hours on your feet. I didn't think that that was something I shouldn't do, but since I did it, now I'm like thinking I shouldn't have done it. So I'm like, did I miss something? Am I stupid? Or should I have asked more questions? I kind of hate these 30-minute doctor appointments where you have to like learn how to do shit real quick. I wish there
Yeah.
was like a day follow-up window, like, hey, if you have additional questions, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he never mentioned not to be on my feet all day, but now I'm saying I probably shouldn't be on my feet all day, and that's probably why my foot's not getting like 100% healed.
Well, Maggie, I don't know. Now I'm just gonna go out on a limb, and this isn't judgment. This is just an observation.
This is a learning opportunity.
I don't know if it needs to be explicitly said
That
that
sounds like I think I'm just stupid.
when you have a hurt foot and a broken toe, you
You
should
shouldn't
maybe
be on it
not
all day.
spend long hours standing or walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was
And
a
then
given,
and then
but
I
go
did
on.
more stupid things because I bought because so I have to go to work obviously, and I only have so many sneakers I can wear to work because all I can wear now are sneakers. And so I bought these really cute sneakers from Steve Madden, but they low key hurt my foot too, and I've just been wearing it.
Why would
Because it's like, okay, it doesn't hurt like a 10, it hurts like a 2. But
did you order the shoes your doctor told you to get?
not yet, but the list
So
is
you're
here.
ordering Steve Madden shoes, but not the shoes that could actually help
No.
you.
That was for my birthday though. I couldn't be looking down. Look, I just realized I'm just my own worst enemy. Like my foot's never gonna fucking get better. No, so today I got to work and I was like, my foot hurts. And I was wearing the Steve Madden shoes and I took them off and it instantly felt better. And I was like, huh.
It's almost as if the shoes you wear matter.
Right.
After this
He did.
podcast, I'm going to bully Maggie into ordering shoes online. Or did they say to go to the store or just to say you could order them
I'm gonna
online?
send you a picture of this list of dusty shoes. He wants me to buy like Asics or Brooks or
Uh,
Hoka's or On Clouds. I have On Clouds.
these are nice shoes. I got Hoka's.
I don't like how swishy they look.
Well, and
They look
Asics,
like
Asics is what I wear. Are you saying my tennis shoes are dusty? They're just a pair of normal black tennis shoes.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish there was like
Would you
it's fine.
rather
Continue to feel,
look
be in pain? Absolutely
questionably
not.
stylish with a hurt foot or sacrifice some style and heal your foot so you can wear all the Steve Madden shoes?
No, I get it. Because today I was at work and I was like, dang, my foot hurts. And then I was thinking about the timeline. I'm like, it's been 3 months. And then I was like, maybe it's because of me.
Maybe I'm the problem.
Because the first 2 weeks that I got hurt, I was home. I didn't have to go anywhere. I wasn't wearing shoes. But then since then, there have been occasional times where like I'm on the go for the day. I have to wear something, whatever, whatever. And I was like, dang, I think I'm the problem. But I did some additional research. You weren't there that day, but remember when F45 had that like vendor day?
Yes.
Well, there was a chiropractor who goes to that F45 and she had her little machine thing that has a lot, I don't know what does, but it's supposed to heal muscles and shit. And so
Oh,
she was giving everybody like 10-minute sessions. And this was when I first hurt my toe before I knew it was broken. Blase, blase. I gave her my information. My insurance covers it. So I'm going to go to a chiropractor. And I think that will also help.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I Googled it. But I'm just like, why didn't the doctor tell me that either? I don't know, man. I
It
don't
looked
know.
like when you were telling me, it sounded like the doctor you went to was low key sketch, not sketchy, but wasn't it he wouldn't
Oh,
even like look at your foot because your
yeah.
appointment was just for your toe? And it was
The
like,
first
okay, I
day I
get that, but
went,
it's like,
he was
hello, I'm here.
exactly. The first day I went, he was very brief and like what wasn't I was like asking questions, but he didn't seem engaged in the conversation. Then I saw another doctor who explained what the issue was because I had to make another appointment and he answered my questions. But like I wish they gave all the information. Like, okay, I don't know.
I
I don't remember him telling me if I should wear uncomfortable shoes, but that's a given. He definitely didn't tell me not to spend the day on my feet. I didn't realize I shouldn't do that. Because remember, you came over Sunday.
mm-hmm.
Brandon came over Sunday and said, how's your foot? I said, it hurts.
Oh,
And
Monday.
Sunday also, oh, Monday. And
It was
Monday
3-day
also,
weekend
I
for
was
us.
on my feet all day as well. Like I was washing dishes, I went to the gym, I was doing clothes with you, all that stuff. So it's just like, I've been doing way too much and my foot's not healing and I'm just irritated. Brandon, this morning, the blanket got snagged on my toe and it hurt. Like I'm telling you, the slightest insignificant things hurt
It also
still.
doesn't help that you have basically a bunk bed with no ladder. Maggie's bed, y'all.
Don't come for me.
I was
Don't put
shook.
my business out there.
It's a nice bed. It's just so high. Like she is the highest bed ever.
So,
I'm like,
so
why is
the
it so high? Not to put
wow.
you on blast, but I'm
All
sure
my
jump
business
making
on
those
Jump
jump
Street.
making that jump
No,
down probably isn't helping.
no, Obi's parents bought the bed. Let me see if I can find it on Amazon. Obi's parents bought the bed that we sleep in, but it didn't come with like a frame. So I bought like a frame for it, and it's I think an 8-inch or a 6-inch frame. So it's
Ooh.
6 inches off the ground. It's 6 inches off the ground. Then the box is like six, maybe to 10 inches, and then the mattress is also six. So you have to like jump into bed. Brendan was like, "You're doing this every day," and I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like I have to climb into bed. I'm not that tall."
The thing is, I kind of love it. Like, I kind of want a bed that
Oh, it's
high,
amazing. I did it on purpose.
but I would think maybe get a little ladder. Like, because it's like you would need like a stepping stool, is the thing. And she doesn't
Yeah,
use
like
that. And that's
if
not
you
helping your foot.
I mean, I'm not jumping off of it, but you're right. Everything adds up.
I
I mean,
mean, if a
I'm not
blanket,
recovered. I'm not recovered, so
this is true. And you need to get back to it, Maggie. It's been so long since we've worked
I
out together, and I want you to be
know.
able to walk.
And I only extended my F45 for like another month. I'm really hoping that by the end of this month I can start going back. So hopefully the chiropractor will help. I have a feeling it will.
I think it should. It seems like a more hands-on
Yeah.
approach.
And I Googled it. I was like, turf toe, blah, blah, blah. And I saw a bunch of chiropractor websites that were like, yeah, are you experiencing this? You need to come and do this. And I was like, okay, great. And then I saw, like, I don't know, I was online too long because then I saw another website that was like, this should heal. If it's not severe, this should heal in 3 weeks. I was like, it's been 3 months though. What about me? It's been it's been 3 months since I got hurt and a month and a half since I learned what to do. So 6 weeks of taking it easy and not exercising and not doing stupid stuff. Well, never mind.
I think I think this will help. It might be
I think
more
so too.
severe than healing on its own,
That's what I'm
but
saying, Brandon. Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
does
be
it feel
so
better than when
pissed.
you like in the beginning?
Definitely. It
So
definitely
it's
feels
healing.
better
It's
than
just taking a little longer. So this should help, I think.
yeah. Me not being stupid. I'm gonna buy some shoes. Fuck it. Maybe I'll buy
Hmm.
2 pairs. I sent you the list. You want to pick some out for me?
I'll look
Um,
after.
I'm gonna buy the shoes. I'm gonna not spend the day on my feet anymore, and then I'm gonna go to the chiropractor. And if it doesn't heal in like 3 weeks, because the worst case scenario is I'd need surgery.
Oh, and we don't want that.
Absolutely not.
Are we the
Please.
same size shoe? What are you in men's?
9.5.
I have a pair of 10 Hokas. Bondi.
Oh, really? You don't want them?
I mean, I don't really wear them. I didn't
What,
like
what?
them for
Oh, the
running.
Carbon X?
No, I think the Bondi ones.
Oh,
Let me
give me your
see.
shoes.
I'll
I'll
look.
give them back. I obviously don't want
They're
them.
gray. They are nice. I had wore them to our first F45, but they were
I remember,
too.
and I was like, "What are you wearing?"
They might be too big though, because do you need something that's more your size so that it will actually keep the insole and it'll be better for your feet?
Questions we all want answers to, Brandon. I don't fucking know. I
Find
mean,
that out. If
I
not,
think
get
it
yourself
should. I
some
think it
Asics.
should.
Asics are nice and they're not too expensive. And also,
I'm gonna look at all of them.
this is for your health, so you should.
Yeah, I'm
We're
gonna
gonna get you
do it.
shoes. I'm gonna look these up after we record, and I'll say which ones you should get.
But thank you, Brandon, so much for helping me go through my closet.
Oh yes, it was fun.
We had a, it was fun for you, fun for me too. But
Maggie was stressed.
I was so stressed
I was
out.
like, Maggie,
He
calm
came
down.
inside and I was like, okay, I don't know where to start. What should we do?
Uh, but it was
Uh,
fine. We got rid of a lot of clothes.
we got rid of a lot of stuff and I have 2 empty drawers now. That's how much we got rid of.
And look at that.
That's
Oh,
a win. A win is a win.
that was a gift from the Lord.
It was. It sure was. What did you want to
That's my
talk
last
about,
name, y'all,
Brandon?
if y'all didn't know.
Oh, fuck. I missed the reference. Your name is so much fun. At F45, they'll be like, how's the Lord doing today?
Oh yes, one of the coaches. I love her. She's funny.
Is your last name common?
I haven't met someone with my last name. I know it
That's
does
not related to you?
that's not related to me, I mean, I
Hmm.
know it exists, but I just haven't met them, so I'm pretty unique. But what I had to say, it wasn't any nothing personally. I've just been busy with work because it's month end close. But they announced the cast of Dancing with the Stars for the
Oh,
new season, and guess who's gonna be on it?
Sheena.
No, sadly, Phaedra is going to be on it. Not sadly,
Phage.
but sadly for
Phaedra.
Sheena. Phaedra
Phaedra.
Parks. She's going to be on it.
The Southern Belle herself.
She did. Yeah.
The Southern Belle who is from the South but lives in Dubai and is on Married to Medicine.
Yes. That is
This is
rejoining
amazing.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
But
Oh, I love that. I love this. I love this. Can she
yes.
dance though? Oh, she might be out first.
I don't know if she'll be out first, but I don't know if she'll win. She'll definitely be funny, and her cast photo was really nice. So
A
honestly, a win, I
win
say.
is a win.
A win is a win. Also,
She's
Anna
happy about
Delvey
it.
is going to be on.
Anna Delvey?
In her cast
You're
photo, she has
fucking
her ankle
lying.
monitor on.
I mean, it's a fashion statement at this point.
Um, who
I could
else?
never. I
There's a
could, and I'm so pissed right now. Anna Delvey,
yeah,
let me.
that was a bold choice. I was like, huh.
I mean, she's basically like a social influencer, but for all the wrong reasons. Like, I low key feel like they sent her to jail to make a statement. You know, sometimes it's like when people
Yeah,
of notoriety do stupid shit. I mean, she didn't really have any of that. I mean, she was growing. I don't fucking know. But sometimes you make examples of people. This is the opposite. It's like go to jail, get rich. That's what Anna is doing right now.
basically. Um,
Fraud, be fraudulent, do
yeah.
wire fraud, do all write fake checks, and you will end up on Dancing with the Stars. That's crazy.
But one
Hey, all
thing
the
that's going to
power to
keep you
you though.
from being on Dancing with the Stars, complaining about not being on Dancing with the Stars on a television show. So sorry, Sheena. Um, which I don't know. I
She's
was
never gonna
thinking, I
go.
was like, I don't think she will.
I think she shot herself in the foot.
She did, the biggest mistake she made was doing that. It was like you should
That's
not have complained like that because they're not gonna, one, you're too desperate. Two, you weren't like viral or relevant enough to even really pop off from doing that. So it's not like people are invested in you doing it and like getting on and like cheering for it. And then also it's like you're not supposed to like talk about talks of being on the show. Because remember, Ariana's whole thing was when
oh
it got leaked, they
yeah.
were like, don't talk about it, like make sure it doesn't get out. So
Yeah.
she had to be quiet. So, and then when Sheena was explaining why she thought she was going to be on Dancing with the Stars, she like was on her podcast and was talking about, oh, well, this person talked to a producer and they said, oh, it really could be happening. So I was just like, no, no,
Nope, you're
this is
done.
it. You,
You're done.
it's
You're
gonna,
done.
you're done. Maybe in 3 years when we've forgotten about it, but not anytime
Uh,
soon.
oh my gosh. Tom
Um,
too, honestly. Just because he mentioned it and they're like, our brand could never. Anna
right.
Delvey, yes. Tom Sandoval,
No,
absolutely no.
absolutely not. Get the fuck out of here. Um, Today though, Lala did give birth to her baby.
Oh my
So congrats to Lala. She didn't say the name yet, but she did give birth and she posted on her story. So that's nice.
God. Aw, I'm glad they're both healthy.
Yes. And then
Another miracle.
Ariana and Katie are going to be presenting at the Creative Emmys because I
That's
believe
cool.
Vanderpump Rules is
Nominated?
nominated, that's the word, yes,
That's
for something.
cool.
So they're going to be presenting, which is nice because last year when they were, who they had present was the Toms and
Mm.
Lala and Sheena for some reason. So
Boo.
now they got Ariana and Katie, which is better, course correcting.
They're smart. What's the creative Emmys?
Um, that's a good question. It's not televised. Um,
Oh,
I think it's an Emmys of some form.
it's a private meeting.
I think it's just for television. I'm not quite sure. Someone on some podcast referred to it as the fake Emmys. Um, but I'm like, hey, an award's an award, so hopefully,
A win is a win.
a
Take
win's a
your
win.
award. Oh,
So
that's so
yeah,
funny.
those are, the news and a little peek into the Vanderpump Rules universe. It's been a minute since
Yeah.
they've been on. But with all of that being said, we should jump into these Love Island episodes
We
because
got a lot to discuss.
there's a lot
I
to
have
cover.
5 pages on episode 9.
Damn.
And watching it felt a little bit like being in what I imagine what purgatory is like, because I don't remember what time I started watching it. I just remembered looking at how long I had left and being like, how is this possible? I feel like I've been watching this for 2 hours and there's 45 minutes left. The fuck you mean? So we basically watched 3 episodes.
We did, because episode 10 was a normal amount and not the
Hmm.
most eventful. So
No.
we probably don't have to go that deep into it. Like I wrote
No, there
notes,
wasn't a
but
whole
like,
lot.
yeah.
Episode
Um,
9 was like a movie.
it was. It was like the a Peacock, the season 6. Like
Yeah.
that was how every episode was. And we were doing like 3 or 4 twice a week.
And then like it also felt like purgatory because I was like in my head a lot. Like, am I writing too much? Oh, am I just not listening enough? Oh, but I don't want to miss this. And then oh my gosh, this happened. Justine did what? And it's just like there was a lot to unpack. I'm excited.
A lot going on, but let's get this going. Episode 8 had ended with America's vote being revealed that Connor was voted to go on a date with Lauren, the latest
Mm-hmm.
bombshell. And then Lauren also had to pick 2 additional guys to go on a date with, and she picked Johnny and Carrington.
Mm-hmm.
So the episode 9 picks up, and Connor and Lauren are on their date. Seems to be like a
Mm-hmm.
rooftop drinks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically just saying, he's confessing his love for her, basically. He's like, when I saw you in the morning, you were so beautiful, and you were exactly what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, these are strong statements.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminded me of like, it gave me a little Aaron and Casa Amor, where it's like you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing these very strong statements, but
Just
then not,
swooning.
you're not going to own them, is the thing. Did you also notice Connor's red shoes he was wearing? He
No.
was wearing like a red ass Vans. I was like, stop.
The problem is I was gonna switch to watching it on the TV, but I knew I had to use your login, and because I was stuck in purgatory, I didn't want to spend any extra minutes
Oh yeah.
having to log in on my TV. I will start watching it on TV so I can pay attention to their clothes more, but I did not see that at all.
It
This
was a
didn't sound
lot.
familiar.
It was a bold choice. Um, so we go back to
Yeah.
the hotel villa, and I thought this.
Wait, did you peep what the moderator said with
He
the
said
thing?
something. He was saying a couple funny things. What did he say?
The first one was he was like in the election of 2020, basically who's elected to go on a date with Connor.
Oh my
He's
God.
like a decision handled with dignity and grace by Mackenzie, and then it's a clip of her crying, asking, "Why does America hate me?"
Why does America hate me? Like, this is crazy. Oh, Mackenzie.
I was cracking up. I was like, I think this moderator might be, or whatever, narrator guy might be a little more funnier than Ian Sterling because I don't know. I crack up at some of the stuff he
He's gotten
says.
better because in the beginning he wasn't good, but
Man,
then
it
he's
was
been
bad.
saying stuff lately that I'm like, that was funny. But I always forget to write it down. But
uh,
this part was funny, I thought. Rachel sits down with Mackenzie and she's like, well, why do you think this happened? And
mhm.
Mackenzie's just like, I just think America hates me. And then Rachel's like, yes, but why do you think America hates you? And she's like, I don't know. And she's like, I'm not saying I feel this way, but
Rachel is a politician.
she is. She
She's
really
like,
is.
I completely sympathize with you. And I think that you guys are an even match. But what I
But the
think
thing
others
is,
might perceive, not myself, I think a third party might say.
might say that you could appear to be very controlling of
Hmm.
Connor and have kind of explosive reactions.
I don't
And
see it. How?
what's funny and what I've noticed with her and Connor, they kind of cherry pick what part they want to address of a statement someone made. So she ignores the reaction part because she knows that's true. But then when she's like, the controlling, like, how have I been controlling? And I'm like, I mean, have we seen her be controlling? Not to say we haven't. I just can't think of a moment. So maybe it's just memory not serving me right now.
Yeah. And then she's like, yeah, I mean, because she interprets controlling and is like, but I'm not on him 24/7. And I told him that he could talk to Lauren. But then you
Maybe
like
it could
cried
be
when he went to go talk to
right.
her.
It's like your words are saying one thing, but everything else you're doing is saying something completely
Yeah.
different.
Rachel's
Um,
like, yeah. So Rachel tries to ease her into it, but she's starting to see the light a little bit. But no, I wouldn't label it as controlling. I think I think with someone like Connor,
mhm.
basically a people pleaser pushover, he can't talk to somebody like Mackenzie because she's so emotional and because
Yeah.
he's a people pleaser. It's like I just can't talk. But I think for a normal person, or I mean for anybody else, maybe Trey, maybe Carrington, maybe Caleb, somebody who speaks their mind, it wouldn't be like that. So I don't know if she's controlling. I think that she just had he because of their dynamic, he has a hard time telling her the truth. But I don't think she's controlling anything he's doing.
No, he's just kind of giving like simp energy.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
like,
yes.
but I think like Carl from Summer House, he uses that to his advantage.
Yes.
Of like, yes,
Yes, he does.
poor me, I just don't know what to do. And like, it's just
Yeah.
crazy. And then Mackenzie's like Lindsay being the big bad wolf. And it's like, okay, you do have a point against her, but because you'll actually start to lie and not be honest, now it's like, now you're wrong.
Right.
But we'll get to it.
We'll get to
Because Mackenzie's like,
it.
I just
Wait.
know Connor's like so upset on this date. Cutting to Connor
He's
being like,
probably
you're
so
everything I
upset
hoped for.
because because he's probably so upset right now because he knows I'm upset.
And he's like,
Girl, and that's what made me and I wrote it down. I was like, what version of Connor do you get? Do you spend time with a Connor when you stub your toe, he cries? Like what what version of him do you get? Because it's obviously not the guy we see. He has to be doing something for her to say he gets upset when I'm upset.
yeah. I mean, it's just, and we'll see even after this date, there's a big moment that's very telling. But
But was Mackenzie on the same season as Carl?
what do you mean?
You said this Mackenzie
Oh yeah.
was on
She
Summer House.
she
Was she
wasn't
on
like a
Summer House with
cast
Carl?
member. She was like been a cast member and he like started randomly dating her.
Okay, but was
So
it the same season as the guy who acts like Connor?
yeah, Carl is Connor. Carl is the guy who acts like Connor.
She was dating him?
Yeah. Like after
So
all
she
of it.
basically dated the same person twice.
Basically, is that's the
Oh
thing.
wow.
I don't know how he was with her, like if he was as Connery
Yeah.
as he is with or was with Lindsay. It's so convoluted. But
Lindsay is the girl who he took to the wedding and did all that stuff just to say later that he wasn't really feeling her.
no, when did that? No, that
You
was Weston Sierra.
Oh, okay,
I throw
I'm
too many
mixing people
names
up.
at you.
That's
Um
okay. At least you know I listen a little
Yes, you
bit.
do. No, okay. Slight backstory. Carl has been on Summer House this like the whole time Summer House has been a thing. And so is this girl Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl and Lindsay in the most recent season were engaged. And then he called off
Mm,
the wedding, but he was very much Connor like, where he would
mm-hmm.
like kind of play like, oh, poor me. And there was reasons in the beginning, like Lindsay would like pop off on him, but then
Mm-hmm.
there was points where she wouldn't, and he would like low key not be honest and do kind of like skeevy stuff like Connor,
Yeah.
and then
Okay,
like
that
so
makes
it's a lot.
sense.
But when she was dating, when Mackenzie was dating Carl. I don't know how he was with her. He was like almost because he's like sober now. He was
Hmm.
almost a year sober, but wasn't quite there. So one of the reasons why he ended it was because he wasn't like sober a year before getting in a relationship or something like that. So I don't know too much about their dynamic, but
Okay, that makes sense.
I would imagine maybe it could have been a little like this unless she did
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mackenzie's swearing that he's upset and Connor's having the time of his life. Um he says he tells Lauren that he's interested and that he's been filtering himself for Mackenzie and he just knows incompatibilities exist. And this is where I wrote, let's see if he'll actually be honest with Mackenzie.
Yes. Because that's what it's leading up to, right? He's like, I'm trapped. But he also acknowledges that he plays into it too, which I appreciated. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Um, and he says he wants to like figure things out, and Lauren says, I want you to as well because I'm scared of Mackenzie.
Right. She's like, she was freaking out just because of a date. That was
She was
funny.
about to throw up. Oh my God, I'm gonna
Uh,
throw up.
we go back and Trey's talking to Mackenzie. And I love this moment with Trey. He's like,
Me too.
Connor's really nice, and the way you react to him isn't right. And like how you
Mm-hmm.
have like these overreactions. And
Mm-hmm.
then Mackenzie breaks down about being cheated on before, and that's why she feels like she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
deserve Connor. And it's like, okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Trey's just like, do you really not know why America would have done this? And she's like,
Yeah.
no, I have no idea.
I think
Um,
she's getting it now. I think she's getting it. And I actually appreciate everybody saying something to her instead of just talking shit about her, which is what
right.
we saw in season 6. Like
Yeah.
it was a montage of being like, oh my gosh, did you see what that person did? Yeah, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah, they're crazy. Like I'm glad that Rachel and Trey are honest.
Yeah. And they're keeping it real with her,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. And so Connor returns. She runs and jumps on him. I'm like, oh my God.
I think Rachel or Moira tells her, act cool, act cool. She runs to this man and jumps in his arm. And he's like, hey, babe, how are you? And I was like, see, this man has four faces. Because do you have multiple personalities, Connor?
I don't know.
Because
Like, it's wild because they go
he
upstairs.
carries her
He
all the
carries her.
way.
And he's just completely not only not honest with Mackenzie, but just hits the paint so hard. Because I think she's like, well, what did you guys talk about? Did you guys like I've heard like it's been going around, people may think I'm
Mm-hmm.
controlling. Like, did you talk about that? And this is one thing about Connor. He never directly answers a question.
Nope.
And he always takes a minute to respond, and when he does, it's almost like he's repeating the question, but like not. And it's just
Yeah.
weird. He's like, well, as far as like the topic of controlling that was discussed, and all this, but he's not mentioning how he told Lauren she was everything he was looking for and he wants to get to know her and he's like super interested.
Mm-hmm. And cause she kind of asks, like, Mackenzie was like, he mentions the controlling thing, and she's like, did you reassure her that that is what you also want, and that the relationship isn't controlling? And he goes, so,
So we did
and
talk about it.
and Mackenzie's just like her mouth is open, like listening. And he's like, we talked about the controlling part, and I have to be honest with myself. Yesterday was the first day I said how I really felt. Man, you're not answering the question. She interrupts him. Am I missing something? Silence. He doesn't say anything. She goes, what's wrong? Do you want to be with me still? Silence again. And then he's like, I don't want you to be concerned about where I'm at. And then Mackenzie's like, I just want to know how you're feeling. Like he's not answering.
Yes. And that
He's
was funny
asking
when she
very
says,
direct
she's like,
questions.
I just want to know how you're feel like, can you just like speak? And he's like, he
He
also
goes,
failed to mention how him and Lauren were talking about secret signals so they
oh
could
my
like
gosh.
talk
So
in the villa.
stupid.
I'm like, that was pretty. Mhm.
And then at the end, he goes, I know, I know. Right now, you're the. This is why it took me so long to watch this fucking shit. Because I'm writing these conversations basically verbatim. Maybe I paraphrased a little bit. But he goes, I know, I know. Right now, you're the one I want to be with here and out of here. That's what I have to say. And then and Mackenzie's like, I want to be better. I'm sorry if I've like been controlling or made you feel like you couldn't talk to me. I'm falling for you in a big way. And he's like, you have all the qualities I want. And she's like, in her confessional, she's like, I can't believe Connor's mine. And then he goes, I have a question for you. And now she's sitting on his lap and she's like, yeah. And he's like, will you be my girlfriend? The way I wanted to throw my phone, like, are you fucking serious?
I thought I was like seeing things. I was like, is he a sociopath?
Is
How
this
did
the
we get
Twilight Zone?
here?
For real. We must be in an alternate universe. There's
We
no
have
way
to be.
this man is the same man that was talking to Lauren, saying her she's everything. What and this is manipulative as hell.
It is. And then also it makes it to me clears up that they definitely probably established they were boyfriend and girlfriend when she
Oh
said
yeah.
it the first time.
Oh
And then he
yeah.
was like, well, I have those feelings. And when Lauren asked about it in front of the guys, and then the guys were like, no, Mackenzie made that decision. I'm starting to be like, no, probably Connor agreed, and then he
Mm-hmm.
kind of tried to backtrack with Mackenzie, just like, oh, I just want a better moment. And she was like, yeah, okay, yeah, totally. And now,
Yeah.
after saying all this shit to Lauren, he comes back, is not honest with Mackenzie at all, and decides, not only am I not going to be honest or just like play it cool, I'm going to label us. I'm
Doesn't make
gonna
any
make you my girlfriend.
sense. I'm
Like,
gonna lock a relationship in even tighter.
it's
Like,
like,
what? I thought you said she was controlling and manipulative.
I
And
thought you
this
were
is like,
interested in Lauren.
I feel like the conversation is a little chopped up. Maybe there were moments where he wasn't silent, where it made it look like he was whatever. But at the end of this conversation, she's sitting on his lap and he basically proposes to her. Like, I don't think I wrote down, I was like, I 100% believe he's been saying stuff to her to make her feel super invested and super safe, and Mackenzie is not crazy. But it makes me think that there's something wrong with Connor because why do you go and basically whatever the person is talking about, low-key, like how Kaylor is kind of like a parrot, like just repeating stuff. I
Oh,
low-key
yeah.
feel like Connor is too, but he makes it worse, right? Like, oh, I hate this person. Oh yeah, I hate them. Yesterday they did this to me and it never happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
he'll tell Lauren will say, oh, that girl, she looks a little controlling. She is. I feel like I've been filtering myself. I feel like I've been blah 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 blah.
It's been
And
terrible.
then and then Mackenzie says, I'm falling for you. And he's like, will you be my girlfriend? Like, whatever the person is talking about, he has to amp it up twice as much just to please them, maybe? I don't know. I don't know why he's doing this.
It's like 51st dates and he's Drew
Yes.
Barrymore. And instead of at the end of the day, when the new day starts, his memory goes away. It's at the start of a new conversation. The
His
memory of the
memory goes
conversation he had before just goes completely out of his mind. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Lauren and I, we did sit together. But will you be my girlfriend? Like, what?
Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's like, so after this, I'm like, all right, I don't trust this guy. Anything he says, I feel like is invalidated because like
Oh
what
yeah.
the hell? Like you made yourself like look like a victim low key in front of Lauren. Now you want Mackenzie to be your girlfriend? Like, so you're lying to one of them, and I'm still not sure who he was lying to.
Yeah. It seems he's lying to himself, maybe
That
as
part.
well. But Johnny joins Lauren for the date, and it's kind of whatever. She like lists all the traits she's looking for, and he keeps saying like check, check, check. And I'm like, Johnny, are you
Mm-hmm.
like really interested in Lauren? Like, what's happening?
Right.
And then she says that she felt his eyes all over her in the villa. And I'm wondering maybe Johnny's just kind of a flirt
I think so.
because
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about him. We were talking about it. We're like, I don't like him.
Yeah, I feel like he's like, oh, like, oh, you want me on a date? Why? Okay. Oh, you want a man like this? I got that. Like, I feel like he's like, oh, you're interested? Okay, let's talk about why you're interested. I'll entertain it. But
Right.
does that mean he's gonna like couple up with you? I don't know.
Maybe not. Because then he says
Yeah.
he's very happy with Sally. And then
Mm-hmm.
Lauren goes, "Are you really happy?" And I'm like, I kind of like Lauren because she's kind of like
Me too.
evil, but not evil. Like
She,
she's just
she gives me,
honest.
she is, and she gives me therapist vibes because she asks like really deep questions. Like, you're happy? Are you? She like challenges you to give
Yeah.
her a real answer. Like, are you really happy? And he was like, oh, I mean, yeah,
Let me think
if I
about
have
it.
to lay it all out. So, yeah,
Right.
she
He's
shoots
like,
her
that's a
shot.
good question, but it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna take a lot to turn my head because I really like Sally. And he
Mm-hmm.
like leaves feeling a stronger connection with Sally. But yeah, with Lauren, I'm like, I kind of feel bad for her because I feel like she has completely like one conversation with like all the guys, and then they like go about acting as if they never said anything they said to her, and then she ends up looking crazy.
Yeah.
And the girls are like, what
Yeah.
the fuck's her problem? Like, why is she doing this? And it's like, well, because he told her he was interested in her and that he
Yeah.
hated you.
Yeah.
So,
Like if I at the beginning of the episode after watching her dates, I would never think that she would be nervous at the recoupling. Those two things
no.
don't match. Like, granted, we didn't see the whole date. Maybe the guys did say like, "Hey, we're still pretty close to this person," but the this villa vibe is very sheepish. Like, you're not gonna jump in, you're not gonna quickly leave somebody. Like, people aren't really taking risks. They're really kind of like staying like with who they've initiated things with and keeping it going.
Well, a lot of them aren't taking risks, but then someone steps
One
in and
person
takes a big
does.
risk that I
She
very
does.
much appreciated.
Me too. At
I
first I
was
was like,
like,
oh, but
but then I was like, okay, shake the table.
do it.
We need
Do
this.
it.
Um, Johnny talks with Sally, and he just keeps going, beauty's not enough because what we have is deep. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I hate when they like it just feels like so backhanded whenever these guys are like, beauty really isn't enough. We have a deep connection. And it's like, are you trying to
Yeah.
say she's ugly? Like, because she's not, but like, it's just
Right.
weird sometimes how they say it. They're like, if
No.
I really was just into looks, I'd be with Lauren. It's like,
N-
okay.
No, they definitely like all of them, I feel, initially just sexualized Lauren. And I guess
Yeah.
they realized it because I'm like, but she's also a person, blah, blah, blah. Because they, most of them come back to, but there's more than just looks. Basically, like they are initially sexually attracted to her. That's a given. But like, we have to look at more than just that. And it's just like they're acknowledging how pretty she is, but like basically trying to talk themselves down from like only weighing on that, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like weird. I'm
Because
like,
later she couples up with someone and he's like, I got the prettiest girl in the villa.
I'm
Just
like,
to be like, oh, but I like someone else. And I'm like, you guys are
oh, that
stupid.
was wild. We'll
It was
get into
crazy.
that was so out of left field. But Sally doesn't care because she's confident because she says she's irreplaceable. And you're right
Oh
about
my
that, Sally. I
gosh.
love Sally.
Me too. It was so funny with her. She was like sitting on the couches. I think Trey was there. She was talking to some people. She's like, "Should I be worried?"
Because I'm
And she's just
not. I
like
want a
having the best
snack.
evening ever.
I'm like,
And then
yes.
Johnny was like, "Oh, I wonder. She might be. We've been here for a long time. Sally might be like wondering why the date is taking so long." And she's like, "Nah, I've been chilling.
She's
I'm
like,
not pressed
ha
about
ha
you,
ha. I
Johnny.
made popcorn.
We were hanging out."
It was a time.
It was a time. We had a time. I had a great evening. I'm glad you did too.
Right? She's like that though, because her TikToks have been coming across my For You page, and she's always like taking herself on like dates and like
Oh,
walking about
I
the
love
city.
that.
I'm like, I want to be Sally. Like, I need to wake
Yeah,
up
no,
and be
she's
Sally.
great. Wait,
Um,
Brandon, is this the season the lady who hosts After Sun? Does she appear as well?
no, she's on UK season 5.
Oh, why did I think they were on? So it's just Justine and Sally.
Yes.
The okay. Never
Which,
mind.
I mean, I don't know if anyone else is going to pop up, but as far as I know, it's just Justine and Sally. But yeah, she's
What was her name?
Mara Higgins. She's on the UK
Oh,
one. She's
Mara.
like a bombshell on season 5, and apparently she
Oh,
really shakes
okay.
the table.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's a season we should definitely jump into at one point because I hear it's really
Thank you
good.
for helping me put all the pieces together.
Of course.
Because I was like, where is she? Is she Lauren?
Where's Mara? Lauren did
Lauren's
look
from another
familiar though. I
place.
was like, was Lauren on the challenge at one point? Like, but then I was like, who I was
Oh.
thinking of, I was like, I don't think that's her. But
Mm,
maybe I have to look back.
okay.
But Carrington joins Lauren
Hmm.
and she says she chose him because when they talked previously, he seemed real. And he's like, I'm happy with Kiersten, but I could be happier. And I'm like, okay, Carrington. Is it just me or does he always look like he's only 75% awake at all times?
Oh my gosh. Like, are you doing like are you smoldering? Like, are you trying to,
Is
like,
it
are
a
you doing like a beef?
smolder? Are you
Like,
high?
what is that? No, I don't, I know the lights are bright because Justine wears sunglasses to bed.
Oh, true.
But yeah, I'm just like, what are you doing, Carrington? And he also kind of only seems half interested. Like he's saying stuff. I don't get a lot of body language from Carrington. I don't even get any like inch of emotion. We saw him cry for his friend Jeremiah, but other than that, like it's kind of he says stuff, but it's kind of like dry delivery. Like, I want to find someone who could be like home. What?
I don't feel what he's saying. There's no charisma. There's no
Exactly.
passion.
Exactly.
It's just like dry.
Very dry.
But
Dry.
maybe he'll get more of a personality later on. Because again, I think a lot of people like Carrington that have watched the show. And that's why I'm interested to see what people thought watching this. Because I'm like, I'm really struggling to like Carrington.
Will we ever find out why people like Carrington? We would like to know. What
We
is there to
would.
like?
I will say it is also funny because like I said, I think last episode, a lot of the people from past Love Island seasons are like hanging out now and like
Yeah.
going to events. I think because Love Island is really having its moment. And a lot of the people from season 2 were together, but I've noticed that Sally isn't with a lot of them. I think her and Justine are still like friends, but then I'm also like, well, Sally's like was highly involved in this past season, like working. So I'm like, maybe she's just like she doesn't need to she doesn't need to go to like the
Yeah.
promo
The
parties or like
things.
pretend to be friends with people because it's like
Yeah.
she's a part of it. She's in it. Like
She she's like, I was basically a cast member.
she's booked and
Yeah,
busy.
I'm curious.
So Carrington returns from his date with not with Kiersten, with Lauren to talk to Kiersten. And he prefaces, he's like, "Oh, don't take this the wrong way." And she's already on 100 because anytime Carrington's more than 10 feet away from her, she's like having like a freak out.
I feel like also anytime you tell somebody not to take something the wrong way, they know it's gonna be bad.
That part. So it's kind of just like, but he's like, he's not sure if he wants to be open. Well, no, he says he wants to be open and pursue Lauren. And then he like brings up her dates that Kiersten went on before.
Yeah, because she kind of was like, "Oh my gosh." And then he was like, she says, yeah, as soon as he says like, I'm not sure yet. She's like, "Oh my gosh." And he's like, "But you went on 2 dates, okay? So like, please give me the grace to like talk to people too." And she's like, "I know, but then I came back to you." And he's like, "Okay." Relax. But he kind of like had to talk her down. I still felt like the 2 dates thing is low key a cop out, but I mean, it is a valid point at the same time.
It's like I didn't like how he brought it up. It
Same.
felt
It's like a
very like,
shot.
yeah,
You went on two
like,
dates, so
and it's
shut up.
like, but she didn't like them. It's she like, but you like her, Lauren. So it's just
Hmm.
like different. And I think
No,
she
he went
might be
as
like, oh, what?
I was gonna say he went as far as to say you went on 2 dates, and when you came back, one door was closed, but the other one was still open, and I still was whatever with you, like I still stuck with you, kind of thing. Like he has the receipts. He's like, this is what you did, so
Yeah,
now I get to do something.
yeah. And it's just like, okay, he's kind of being petty. This is like Nicole and Kendall.
No, it definitely
Um,
feels like it a little
some
bit.
parallels.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not being completely honest because
Mm-hmm.
again, he's one of those that like told Lauren like, "Oh yeah, I'm so into you." But then like when
Yeah.
he's talking to Kiersten, it's just kind of like, "I could be open to talk to her, but I don't know." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, well you're lying again." But she's
Right.
annoyed and wants to go to bed. She's like, "I'm fucking over this."
Yeah. I mean, it's hard information to take in. I think last time she said that something's happened or she got cheated on or something or she's not very trustworthy. Something happened to her.
Yeah, I think she brought up cheating before
Yeah, and
in her
so she
past
just feels a little
relationships.
wary.
She does,
Yeah.
which I get.
I mean, he's like, it's unfair for me to not like get to know her. I care about you still. But again, like Carrington, like we just said, is very dry in his delivery, doesn't really seem very caring, no inflection in his
Not
voice.
very
So it's just
caring,
like
Carrington.
it's unfair for me to not get to know her, but I do care about you. Cool, Carrington. Thank you. Thanks, Carrington. I'm
I
going to
feel so
sleep too.
I feel so
Fuck him.
reassured,
I
Carrington.
feel
Thanks so
so
much.
loved and so cared for.
Your
Anyway.
name has more gumption than any part of your personality, Carrington. Uh, but
What does gumption mean? I like that word.
putting me on the spot. What does gumption mean?
I'm gonna
Like
Google
like
it.
charisma maybe?
Emphasis?
Emphasis? Yes.
All right.
We'll
Okay
say
with the
that.
big words. Gumption.
Um, I try. Um, but Mackenzie apologizes to Lauren about her actions, and Mackenzie or Lauren accepts it. She's like, "Oh no, it's fine. I totally get it." But then Lauren talks to the guys, and she's like, "I'm fucking shook because she's telling me this, but Connor was basically telling me he wanted to end it." And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Well, there you go. He's saying something different to you and to Mackenzie." Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically the same thing.
yeah. And then Carrington tells the guys he doesn't feel bad. He was locked in for 3 days, but now it's the sixth day. And it's different.
And he makes it sound like it's bad. I was locked in for 3 days or for whatever amount of days. It's like
Something,
you make it sound like something happened to you, Carrington. Like
yeah. I wonder if it's like maybe he's one of those where it's like he likes a chase.
yeah.
And like if because I feel like when they first started, Kiersten seemed like she liked him, but wasn't like obsessed with him. And like he was very
Right.
much all over her. And now it's kind of reversed. And now he's like, well, I don't know if I like this. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay. So maybe he just
Yeah,
needs
no.
not to like him that much.
I guess so, because he definitely switched up. The last time we talked, she went on a date and he was hot and bothered. I mean, not as hot and bothered as she is, but he was annoyed. He was like, freaking out a little bit. And now we
Hmm.
basically see him like, I mean, you went on a date. Like as if he doesn't even remember how it felt. Can
And what
empathize
about
with her
it?
a little
And what
bit.
about it? You went on a
Yeah,
date. What about
you went
it?
on
Like, I don't
too.
feel bad.
And the
Yeah, I
guys
liked you
came
on the
back.
third day, but it's the sixth day.
What about it? I don't know.
The girl from the ring is about to pop up. It's about to be 7 days. What do you want from me? I watched
Can
the
someone
tape.
in the
I
comments
watched the
let
tape.
us can
Like,
someone in the comments please let us know why people like Carrington? Because
I'm
it's getting
like,
worse and worse.
it is because it was like bad. And then I was like, okay, I could kind of see where this could go. And now I'm like,
No, no,
yeah,
no.
I'm like, I
Throw
don't
it all
like this.
away.
Throw it away. But they all
Anyway.
go to bed.
Mhm.
And then the next day, this is where I'm
Wait,
thinking,
Brenton,
oh yes.
in bed this day, I noticed Trey and Justine were laying face to face. And I was
Oh,
like, what's that about? I just made a note.
well, this could be
Mm-hmm.
like
The
what
other
he
stuff.
mentions. The
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. Okay, I didn't notice that. Good catch, Maggie.
It's okay.
Um,
You catch the clothes. I catch the other stuff.
period. It's the next day, and this is where I also thought I was like, did something happen again that we didn't see? Because Mackenzie and Connor chat, and they act as if he didn't just ask her to be like his girlfriend. he's like, our conversations just go in circles. And they just seem like at odds. And he's like telling us, I don't have the balls to be honest with her. And I'm like, why are you saying this now? You literally had just. I'm also like, how much are they drinking? Because are they just drunk? And then like he wakes up and
Oh
he's like,
no,
why the
man.
fuck did I ask her to be my girlfriend? Like, what the hell? Like, I was supposed to break up with her.
Or did this happen another day? Because it's just not adding up
Yeah,
with this day. It
it's
doesn't
too
make
different.
sense.
I'm
It's
like,
way too different.
what went on? And
But
then,
then, just a note, later on, it's the same morning, it's the same time because he's wearing the same thing and he's talking to the guys. And
mhm,
he said, this evening, I had a conversation with her. So I don't think it's the morning. I think they're talking in the evening.
this is very choppy editing,
It is. But
and it's like
he said
confusing.
like, oh, he said, what did he say? He said last night we spoke and blah 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 blah. So I think they spoke the night before, but the show made it look like it's the next day. I think this is a conversation before bed,
Okay.
which would make sense because nobody's in the room. It's just Johnny and Sally. And
Yeah.
like, they don't look like they just woke up.
Yeah. That's a, right.
I don't know. Season two,
I don't
CBS.
know. It's just so confusing. It's like very it's hard to even follow too because a lot of it just like doesn't make like it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Oh
So
no.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was the day where they were going back and forth about other stuff and not the day where we saw him
Like
ask her
ask.
to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I agree. But she does say she can understand if she comes across controlling and she apologizes and he's just like I need time and space to process things. And then but he asked for a hug. And this is literally just like Carl from Summer House. Lindsay and Carl got into this huge argument because Carl's bad at having jobs and they were having an argument about careers and they get in this bad fight. And then by the end of it, he's like, can I have a hug? And she's like, sure. And it's the most awkward hug ever. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
No,
this
he needs
guy is
like
Carl.
consistent affirmation. It's like an ailment. Like his kryptonite is you're mad at me. So can I have a hug? Like basically, can I know you're still good with me? Can I
Right.
know we're all right? And she's like, yeah.
You're not mad at me, right? It's like, well, I mean, I don't she should be, but
She
like
should be.
you're being fucking annoying, Connor.
You
Like I can't.
are.
Uh
She looked real sad giving him that hug too. She's like,
she
okay,
did. Ki-
frowning.
right. Kirsten and Lauren chat. And Kirsten's just like, yeah, Carrington says he wants to be with me, is the thing.
Oh
Like, so it's
gosh.
crazy. And Lauren's just like, uh-huh. Interesting.
Because
And
at first she's like, "Oh, he's trying." Yeah, because I think Kiersten asks Lauren to chat, and then they're like, "Obviously, we need to talk about Carrington." And Lauren's like, "Yeah, he's trying to find himself and man up," and she's like, "Yeah, he wants me," and it's like those are two different things. Two different
it
things.
is. And Lauren's like, this is awkward because a lot of these people have a hard time being honest with themselves. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
period. They're literally just
Mm-hmm.
like telling you one thing and then telling other
Mm-hmm.
people something completely opposite and just like going back on it. I
Mm-hmm.
love how she's like dragging them.
No, no, she really is.
And then Carrington just says this thing that like annoys me that people say on the show, like, I feel like me and Kirsten's relationship needs to be tested. And it's like, why? I don't like because
Oh.
they were saying that this past season too, like when Kenny brings back Catherine. I just thought it would be a test. And it's like, this isn't fucking college. Like, what do you mean? There's no tests. Like,
There's no exam at the end for one of us to pass.
no, like, who do you like more? Like, what
Yeah.
is this?
You would know if you like someone more. And if you have to think about it and mull it over, then you probably don't. And that's
Yeah.
your fucking test. Your
But
test is a gut check.
right. It's not like a full, like, okay, like, I need 3 to 5 days where we're all in the same vicinity and I'm open to talking to both. And then I will see based off those 3 to 5
Hmm.
days how I feel. It's like,
Hmm.
okay. This is where I think we were saying earlier where Connor's talking to the guys And he's like, I'm
Yeah.
exhausted. My energy's been drained. Me and Mackenzie are not compatible. And,
She's
breaking up is
manipulative.
an option. And this is where I'm like, you're full of shit because you can't even fully commit to anything because you say it's an option. Because you want to throw out to the
Yeah.
guys, like, you're so miserable, you may want to break up. But if Mackenzie were to ever see it or ever question, it's like, I never said we were going to break up. Anything's an option. We could break up, we could stay together. It wasn't anything like that. Mm.
Yeah. No, it's bad. And then I just keep thinking, I'm like, this is, you're manipulative.
Yes,
And
very.
honestly, maybe a little controlling too, because you want this narrative spun a certain way, and you're not being honest with anybody.
No.
I because when they watch the tape back, they're all gonna be like, "What the fuck was he was telling you what?" Oh, I would never have believed that.
Yeah, no. I really wonder what a lot of these people think after they watch back the season. I will
No.
say too, I haven't seen in the hangouts James or Connor.
Interesting. Interesting. America probably came for Connor's neck, honestly. I have a feeling. In 2020?
Sally gets a text and it's game time and they're playing a game and it's called All Washed Up and it's basically like a car wash where they just look sexy and like get wet and do dances and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the catch is in the beginning of it, well, first before they do that, they do like the slow-mo runs and Moira's on crutches. So they just have her running in slow-mo in crutches. And I'm like, this is funny. Poor Moira.
Oh,
Uh,
Moira.
yes,
I
but
literally forgot she was here.
I know she was kind of in episode 10, but she wasn't a big factor in episode 9.
No.
She had her drama with James. She had to take a break, some
Yeah.
time off. Um, but in the game, the girls had to dump a bucket of water on themselves or pick a guy to kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And then they slide through the car wash and they just look sexy and all that. And then they kiss the guy they picked. And
Mm-hmm.
so Kiersten does it. She kisses Carrington, and he's just so impressed. She's making out with him like she's never done before. And he's like, this is definitely piquing my interest, I think. So it's like, okay.
He was like, that was a
Um,
statement.
that was a statement. Rachel picks Caleb because they're in a
Mm-hmm.
couple. Mackenzie picks Connor. It seems to be going like how everyone would think. And then Justine goes. And she's like, I'm not gonna dump water on me. I pick Caleb to kiss. And everyone's like, oh my God, like what? And then Trey's like, this feels like a slap in the face. Why would she
Mm-hmm.
do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
And but regardless, Justine kills it. She low-key did the best no matter who they picked to
Oh,
win. I'm like,
no,
she
she
better
ain't.
pop off with the splits. I was like, yes.
She was twerking and stuff. Yeah, even afterwards, even though he was mad, Trey was like, I think that's number one so far. So
Period.
she put on a show, but Caleb said he was surprised and embarrassed, and I was like, yeah, she kind of put you in a weird spot.
It was a little, yeah, on the spot. And Rachel's pissed. She's like,
Rachel's
I
big
don't want to
mad.
be her friend anymore. I'm like,
I
oh,
don't see how we can continue forward in a friendship. She's such a politician. I love her. Rachel, I know you're educated queen with a PhD or something. She's just like, look, I do not see a way forward. You know what it reminds me of that girl on TikTok. She's like she works for the management company of management and she just like speaks in management. So she'll be like, circling back to what we were talking about before,
she is
as
very
we were
office
discussing, so I can
speak.
follow up. Yes.
Rachel is like a professional email.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Thank
okay,
you.
Rachel. She's very we'll get to it, but I like Rachel, but she's just so intense when she talks.
Very.
She's
Hmm.
just like, I just don't foresee, and I want to tell you this, and I want to tell you that, and then this is it. And I'm just like, okay. I'd be
No,
like,
she's great. I would
damn.
be her friend. I would love to be her friend. So she could be like, so I love you so much. You're the best person I've ever met.
But
But
if you want your
others
foot to
may.
heal, Maggie, I think people would think you need to be off your feet, wear good shoes, and wear insoles. I'm just putting that out there for your potential health.
And I'd Rachel, you care about me so much.
Arguably, I care about you more than you care about yourself. Okay. Some
Love
people
ya.
have
Give me
said
a
that.
hug.
Give
Give
me
me
a
a
hug
hug.
now. Give me a hug. She'd be perfect, actually. So that happens, and then Sally picks Johnny. Lauren ends up picking Carrington. And like the
hmm
guys were enamored by Lauren's performance and deem her the winner. And I'm like, she did good, but I didn't think it was anything like so much better than anyone else.
Over the top. Yeah, like I don't know, man. Lauren is just making everybody lose their minds.
But for real. And I'm like,
I,
I like
I
Lauren,
thought
but damn
Justine
y'all.
did the best, but
She
yeah.
did. Mm. They were hating though, because they were mad because she did the plot twist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's after the game and the girls rejoice. And Justine's
Mm-hmm.
all like, I want to talk to you, Rachel, but on like our own time, like just you and me. And like, I picked Caleb because I didn't want to confuse Trey because we had had a conversation where we kind of ended it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's basically telling us, like, I want to look out for myself going forward because, like, I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for love and, like, I need to do things that it's going to be good for me. And I'm like, period. Everyone else is. So.
Yeah.
And Trey is talking to the guys and he's shook. He cannot believe it. He's just like,
Mm-hmm.
this is
He's
just the
pissed.
worst. And the guys are like, Isn't she supposed to be good friends with Rachel?" And I'm like, funny because I'm pretty sure Trey hijacks every conversation any of you guys have with any other girl, Johnny in particular, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Trey brings up that I guess the night before she had told him, like, oh, I miss you and like I like you or something. And he
And
feels
I was
just like
like,
disrespected.
yeah, I guess she was like touching him in bed and stuff. And yeah, he just thinks it was disrespectful. And she didn't tell him that she was interested in Caleb at all. So he was like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah.
Um,
And do you
do
think this
you
happened when you noticed they were looking at each other?
Yeah, I think that's what he was talking about because I've never seen them lay face to face. They usually lay like on polar opposite sides of the bed, but they were like looking at like facing each other. They weren't like on top of each other, but they were facing each other. So I was like, maybe this is what. So yeah, I get. What do you think based off of the two things that are happening here, or
Um,
should we get all the go through all the facts and then do it?
well, based on these two things, I
hmm
could see because Justine did when she kind of loosely ended it with him, she then tried to like kind of snuggle with him outside.
Yeah, she did. She got all close to him.
She did. Now, I could see her saying, like, I like you as a friend and like I miss you as a friend. Like, I don't want that to like our conversation to like end us being cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, by touching, what does he mean by touching? Like, were they cuddling in bed? Like, what were they
Yeah.
doing? Like, I don't, there needs to be a little more context.
Yeah.
I can see him being maybe a little blindsided, but also, which I think she kind of addresses at one point, like she wouldn't even kiss him outside a game, so why would she pick him to kiss during a game?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of
Yeah.
like,
That's a valid
I think
point.
it was more his ego.
Yeah. And it's yeah, I think so because she did it in front of everybody. Maybe. Oh, good point, Brandon. I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. But no, I was thinking the same thing. Like, well, first when she was referencing this conversation that she had with him, I didn't think it was the one that we saw. I thought maybe they had a different one. But now that I'm
Right.
thinking back, like she was very clear. Like, yeah, Trey, you should explore the people. I'm moving. This is moving slow, probably a little too slow. Like, I don't know. And he was kind of annoyed by it, but ran off to go talk to Lauren.
Yeah.
So what?
I don't know. It's interesting. Love it
Very.
though. Thank you, Justine.
Yeah. Thank you,
Um,
Justine.
but Kiersten and Lauren are talking, and Kirsten's like, I'm not mad at you at all. And then, but she does tell us, like, she doesn't, or she tells her, like, I don't like that you chose him, but, it is what it is. It's all good. And I'm like, Okay. So you're
Because
mad.
right, like when she tells that to Lauren, Lauren's like, okay, like you're
Right.
not mad at me, but why would you be?
Right. Because when I was reading this, I had thought I was like, did she just tell us that? And I'm like, oh no, she told her that. So I'm like, she's just
Lauren's just sitting there like, okay.
right. It's just Kirsten's a funny one. I kind of
Hmm.
like Kirsten, but she's kind of a mess. Um,
She's holding her feelings together best she can. I think she's doing a good job of managing her emotions. She's not like storming out. She's trying to
she's
be
not.
like, she's trying to handle it. Her true thoughts are slipping through.
They
Like,
are, but
no, I'm
she's
like,
like,
I'm not mad at you. I don't love it, but I'm not mad.
but I'm not
It's
mad.
like,
It's like,
okay.
oh, okay. All right, Kirsten.
So you are mad.
Oop, it's okay.
She's like,
Um,
I'm just numb. I just want to be picked.
no,
Poor
right.
girl.
I'm like, Kirsten, you're pretty. Like, stop tripping out on like this bland
For
Wonder
real.
Bread Carrington. Like,
I'm dead, but it's true.
you can do so much
Girl.
better. Like, and what we'll find out later, someone else is interested. I don't know if that would be considered better or like a lateral move,
Yeah.
but we can talk about that more
Not
later.
a lateral move.
It would be
That's
a
true.
move.
It's a move.
Um, but the guys are like, be real? Who did you like more, Kiersten
Hmm.
or Lauren? And he was like,
Hmm.
Lauren's was better, but I like Kiersten's more because she brought it and it was more than I
Hmm.
expected. And I was just like, okay, so you like Lauren's more because like you're just saying like you didn't
Oh,
expect Kiersten to be that way, but you said you liked Lauren's more. So I'm just like,
yeah.
what are you even
Yeah.
saying? Like I
He's
get what
like,
you're
I
saying, but like shut up. I don't know.
no, because remember in his confessional, he's like, she usually kisses me like this, and he like makes the noises and like
Yeah.
reenacts it. But then she kissed me like that, and I'm just like, oh, Carrington,
Mm,
you're annoying.
so annoying. I can't stand him. Um, the girls though are just like Carrington was way more into Lawrence kiss. And Kirsten's like, I know, like it's just so frustrating.
And Lauren's like, was
I
it?
couldn't
And I'm like,
tell. That's crazy.
was it long? They're like, yes, girl. And she's like,
It felt
really?
like a second. Mm.
How she holds her own, okay? Can you imagine how awkward that would be? Everybody basically critiquing you and being like, girl, damn. And she's like, oh, did I do something? Hmm.
No, she really does. She kind of like I like it. She almost gives me maybe because they both have accents and like stand up for themselves, but slightly live
Live.
vibes. I'm like, but I like
No,
Lauren. She's
no, it
funny.
is. It is because like even how she treats Trey later, I was like, this is very live energy.
It is. And Rachel is talking to Kiersten and she says she wishes Justine would have told her before choosing Caleb. Now
Mhm.
that I do understand, especially because
Yeah,
it appears to be they were like good friends.
yeah.
And like, I mean, yeah, I get why she would be annoyed by that. But then she jumps to, I don't want to be friends with her. And
Hmm.
I just know this kiss didn't change anything with Caleb. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And she's like, this is the first time I'm hearing it. She's like, I'm annoyed because now we have to talk about yet another person like involved in our relationship instead of just getting to know each other. Valid frustration. But also, girl, you don't have time for both. Like, come
right?
on. You act like it's such an inconvenience. Like, what do you spend your days doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, because I think even later when Rachel and Caleb talk, they're like, we don't talk that much. And I'm like, okay, well then there you go. Like I feel like they talk like once and then they just became a couple. It's not like they like have been a couple for like the longest time.
Yeah, but it just yeah. I think that's a good sign that he obviously wasn't feeling her because why don't you talk to her?
Right.
But she's so pressed about it. Her man, her man, her man. Justine,
My
stay
man, my
away
man,
from
my
my
man.
man.
And Justine's like, no.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, in Justine's defense, that's kind of what you do on Love Island. Like the games are, you get to pick anybody. I mean, like, yeah, it's not cool. That's your friend. I get why Rachel's a little upset, but I don't know if you should take it to a point where you're not going to be friends with the girl anymore. Like, talk to her about it, figure it out.
Right. Because I'm sure Justine has talked about if they are good friends, that she finds Caleb attractive.
Well, yeah, because she was divided on them before.
Yeah.
Like, before Rachel and Caleb coupled up, I think Rachel knew that Caleb was all like Justine was an option for him.
You're right, because it was after Jeremiah randomly like ended things with her. And
Yeah.
then she spoke to Caleb. Caleb said Justine was an option. And then she's like, I like your transparency. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I get being annoyed, like, oh, she didn't tell me she was gonna pick him. So feeling
No, her
blindsided, like,
feelings.
sure. Um,
Yeah.
it's just I feel like it goes a little far to where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like relax.
Yeah,
Um,
like because it's going to a personal level and it's like, okay, well, I don't know. But
yeah.
uh
But
yeah.
Justine and Trey chat, and this was a very infuriating conversation, I must
Oh
say.
gosh.
Because she tries to say, she's like, I picked Caleb because of our conversation prior. And he's just annoyed and confused and like cutting her off. And he's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
hypocritical because you said you missed me and then you choose Caleb. And then she'll try to
Mm-hmm.
explain herself and he's cutting her off. And then she's like, you don't get
Mm-hmm.
to keep cutting me off. Like, I get to respond to you. And he's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
actually, you don't because this is how I feel. And da 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 da. And
Mm-hmm.
then he just officially ends things and it's just like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like we're not together anymore. And I think your
Yeah.
intention was to hurt me. And I'm like, okay, now we're like, this is the thing. It's like she like stepped on your toe and you're acting as if she like stabbed you in the heart. And it was just like,
Right.
okay, like I get maybe feeling blindsided again, but to be like, you did this on purpose to hurt me. It's
Yeah.
like, why would she do that? Like, I think also she was like, it's a game. Like, I picked someone to kiss,
Yeah.
you know?
And she's like, I thought you would understand. Well, I think is that might be later, but yeah, like
I think she said it here too.
the way that he responds is just very extra. It's low key like Mackenzie's response, just quieter, the quieter version of it. Like you're not screaming and crying, but you're basically cutting me off and storming off, like
Yeah.
in a very quiet way. But to be like, no, no, you don't get to say your piece. I'm done. So I'm done trying to talk to you. I'm done, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, but Trey, she told you yesterday that you should go see other people. So
Yeah.
she kind of told you it was done a little bit.
Yeah. Like it was open to explore other things.
Yeah. And you
So,
did. You jogged over to Lauren to talk to her. But I think the whole thing, I guess, whatever she did the night before confused him that much that he's just very mad about it because maybe he woke up being hopeful. I think that would make more sense. Like, okay, I picked Justine when I had this very hard choice and I saw long-term relationship with Justine. And Justine wanted to take it slow, so I'm going slow with her. And we're moving at a slow pace, but I can see it through, and I want to see it through. And then she says, "Hey, it's a little too slow," and he's like, "What do you mean? I was going at your pace. Like, come on." But
yeah.
okay, I understand. But then she kisses somebody else, and you know what I mean? Like, I can get it. I get it from Trey's perspective because I feel like he's probably been like, I was giving this such a chance. And so
Yeah.
I'm upset that it's not working out?
Yeah, I could see that. And I could also see again back to the ego. It's like, because he said before, I think in the intro, like, oh, like I've never had an issue with girls before. And then in the first night
Uh,
or the second one, he was like kissing multiple girls. He
mm-hmm.
was like getting with Caitlyn. And then there's like Justine, where she was kind of like this chase. And then she ended up like not stringing him along, but like going slow and then being
Yeah.
like, I don't know, and then kissing someone else, he's probably like, well, what the hell? Like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. This never
You
happened
don't
to me
kiss me like
before.
that. You never
Yeah.
touched me like that. Never.
Well, she's never
Yeah.
kissed you, period. Which I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so like what really happened the night before? But
Yeah.
because I
I
could
get both
see
sides.
maybe he was looking too into it. I don't know. Roll
I
the
don't know.
footage, roll the tape.
Yeah, because I don't think she ever gets to address like her talking to him about the stuff that happened at night. I never hear Justine mention. I don't remember hearing her mention it. But yeah, like I get both perspectives because I think to her she was very clear. They had a clear conversation she got to say what was on her mind the day before. Hey, I don't think this is working out. But
Yeah.
he's still thinking about all the other stuff.
Yeah. And so it goes to nighttime. And this is where Justine and Rachel chat. And while they're
Um,
chatting, I think it's time we got this straight.
no
Sit and
boy.
talk face to face. And it's like, all right. Um, and Rachel's just like, I'm struggling sharing another guy with Justine. Like, I don't want to do this with Justine again. So, like, I'm really struggling with our friendship and how to do this and how to balance this. Like, okay.
Corporate Rachel.
Corporate Rachel's entered the chat. And Justine's just like, what the fuck is going on? I'm so confused. Literally, we just did this with Jeremiah, where I was on the other side and I was still able to maintain our friendship. But now that I'm kissing Caleb, you don't know if he can be our friend. But I always put our friendship above Jeremiah. Like, I'm just confused. And I'm like, you know what? Valid point.
Valid point. I'm glad this came immediately after because I was like, okay, all right, Rachel is laying it on thick. That's her friend. You're supposed to be my friend. This is my man. And then Justine's like, pause, hold all the way up. We just did this, girl, and you took
Right.
my man. You took Jeremiah. And what did I do?
Yeah.
I supported you. I was still your friend. So I get Justine. I think both of their feelings are valid.
Yeah.
But I wish Justine stood up for herself a little bit. I don't know if they cut the conversation. I wish she had mentioned that. Like, hey, look, yeah, you're right. I should have told you ahead of time, but like, this is kind of what you did to me when Jeremiah came in. And she'd probably be like, no, that's different because I was a bombshell and blah, blah, blah. But
It's like,
whatever.
okay. Yeah, because especially when Rachel and Jeremiah became a thing, it was like right when Justine and Jeremiah decided they were actually like try
Yeah.
or
And then he
whatever.
went on a date like that day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That was funny though. Lauren pulls Connor for a chat and she's like, I'm confused because you haven't looked at me at all after our date. And like now you and Mackenzie are like so good. And he's like, I regret me and Mackenzie labeling things. And I'm like, one, you didn't answer her question as to why you haven't been looking at her. So there's that. Two, you were the one who asked her. If we're going by the edit, and again, we've questioned the edit,
I
so
don't know if it's real.
we'll hold
Yeah.
a little space. We'll hold a little space. But if we're going by this edit, and based off all this, you literally are the one who randomly decided to ask her to be your girlfriend after
Out
telling
of the blue.
Lauren that you were interested in Lauren and were basically like regretting and filtering yourself around Mackenzie. So what are we doing here?
What are we doing? I was like, you regret it? Question mark, question mark, the label is too much. So why did you give it to her? Oh my gosh.
He's
Oh my gosh. He
mm,
makes no sense. And this is funny too, because to get to this chat, Lauren asks Mackenzie, can I talk to Connor? And she's like, yeah. And then they
she's like,
go
of course.
talk. He had to ask her. I just thought that was funny. I was like, not Lauren asking Mackenzie and not just asking Connor if she could chat.
And she's like, yeah, of course, Connie, don't be long.
I'll be right here when you're done.
uh, And then Mackenzie tells Calvin she trusts Connor, but not Lauren, based on how
Mhm.
she's been acting. And I'm like, girl, you have this totally flipped and twisted.
But
It
it's
should
not
be
her
the
fault.
opposite. It's not, but it's like
Yeah.
the enemy is who you sleep with at night. And
Ooh.
that is Connor. Lauren's
Is
low
this who
key.
you lay with?
Is this who you lay with? I actually just saw an interview with Polly. He did like some podcast because he
Oh,
was
really?
yeah, because he was on the new season of the challenge.
Of course he was.
But he went out first. He was one of the first people.
Oh, I think. Oh, I
He
always
got
think I saw it, but I probably didn't.
you might have because he was on the Challenge USA. And if you watch that with Michaela, he was on that and went out
And
early.
he was wearing that like winter coat, and he
Yes.
had. Okay, okay, I did watch
But on
it.
this even most recent one after that, the MTV one, he went out early as well. Did you ever
Uh,
watch the War of the Worlds seasons where they brought like UK people?
I think I've seen one because I remember Sarah from Survivor was on it.
Okay. They
Mhm.
had this guy Theo, and he was
That
like
sounds familiar.
a
Oh
tall
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
He him and Polly had to go in a hall brawl.
Oh my
Polly
gosh.
didn't stand a chance. He tried, but
Oof.
it was rough.
That's
But he
crazy.
called out Theo. He wanted them to put Theo in, but they didn't know what the
Hmm.
elimination would be, and it was just like, well, that's what happens. Um,
Dang, Polly.
right,
That's
you really
funny.
set yourself up. But Connor's telling Lauren he's scared how Mackenzie will treat him if he's honest. And Lauren feels bad for him. And I'm like, girl, no, he is a scammer. He is Joanne the scammer. And like he's
Hmm.
literally playing the whole like, I just don't know how she'll react. Mind you, they've had a couple conversations now that haven't been that great, and she's been reacting just fine. And I'm sorry, like, okay, she's gonna be whiny and walk off. Like, relax.
You act
Like,
like she's gonna like key your car and like
right.
tell
Spare me.
everybody like
Spare me,
spare
please.
me. You're doing entirely too much.
Right?
And Lauren's doing a great job as a therapist, though. I think
She
it's
is.
so funny. She's like, well, how did you feel yesterday versus how you feel today? And then she's like, when he's like, I'm scared of how she will treat me. She's like, do you hear yourself? I was like, Lauren, are
Do you
you a
hear what you're
therapist?
saying? She's like, you
No,
need
she's like,
to
he's in the
own
second
your
place.
power. And
Yeah.
here's a hug.
Control the narrative. Own your narrative.
It's like, oh my gosh,
He's doing entirely too much.
he
Oh,
is.
and then I think in the confessional, he goes, I'm not at the point where I can be who Mackenzie needs me to be as her boyfriend. And I'm just like, why did you ask her then?
Right.
Why
He
did
said
you
that
do
a
this?
couple times too. I'm like, what do you like? One, what do you think Mackenzie needs?
Mm-hmm.
And two, like, I don't like, yeah, why did you ask her that? I don't know. It's just like,
Is he
it,
just an actor? I think he's an actor. Because what do you do? That would make more sense than
it
all these
would.
confusing storylines. Like you're just like playing it up for the cameras. You're saying one thing to someone, like maybe he thinks he's on Big Brother. I have
Maybe.
to play both sides. I'm in an alliance with
The
Mackenzie, but I
alliance.
need to
I
join
can't
an
be kicked
alliance with
off
Lauren.
like this. I don't want to be blindsided. It's like, okay. Um, but what was it? I think he's at this current time, he's in fitness. He has like fitness programs. I
Oh.
looked him up on Instagram and I was
Yeah,
like,
there was two personal trainers. Like it must have been him and James.
oh, James. Oh God,
I
I think
remember
he is
James was a
too still.
trainer.
Um, but Justine and Caleb chat. And, he was shocked by what she did, but he's like, you killed it though.
Yeah.
And she says she wanted to take a chance. And,
Mm-hmm.
he's basically telling us, Rachel's been kind,
Mm-hmm.
but Justine's one of the best people in the villa. And I'm
Yeah,
like, period.
that part.
Mm. And then Connor finally decides to be honest with Mackenzie for the most part. And he reads a letter he
Oh
wrote.
my gosh, which he doesn't read because we only get like a sentence from this picture of a pretty long letter we saw him write.
Right. And like it's basically he's like, I want to take the label away and get rid of the pressure. Well, you were the one who asked, but okay. And it basically that was kind of it. That's all I wrote from the
Yeah,
letter
he's like,
actually.
he's
I thought I
like,
wrote more, but now I'm reading this and I'm like, oh no, this is her response to it. Yeah, they didn't show the letter.
no, because I was like prepared. I was like, okay, let me write the cliff notes because I was writing too much. All he said was, I want us to be happy, both you and I to be happy. I want to slow things down and I want to take the label away so that we can focus on blah, 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 blah. And she's like, but you're the one who's creating these pressures.
Yeah, I was so glad she said that. She's like, a label means nothing. You're the one doing this. And she was like, you created a lot of this with how you've been handling the Lauren situation. And I'm glad she's
Mm-hmm.
calling this out.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically just agree to take it slow. And he's like, I
Mm-hmm.
love how you're handling this. And I'm like, you're such a baby. Like, what are we doing? Like, I'm so glad you didn't get mad at me for lying and gaslighting you and like giving a label, but then taking it back because there was things I'm not saying. And yeah, it's like I just can't. Like it's like
Yeah.
Rob. I like it when you don't talk.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Andrea was so cool in the villa. But then that girl who was on TikTok, I don't know who that is.
She was speaking.
It's crazy. She speaks. But no, like Mackenzie's just like, okay, and they make out. And then I think about it, Brandon, a little bit more. They're very physical. They're always like on top, all over each other in bed. Like
Yeah,
nothing screams Connor doesn't like this.
right.
Nothing. He says it, but none of his actions, at least from what we see, screams that he doesn't like this, other than her like storming off and getting upset before. Like,
Yeah,
and that's not necessarily even like I feel like a deal breaker if she can control it, which we see later she kind of does. Even in this moment, she takes this news well. Because she was
yeah,
like, oh my gosh, he's my boyfriend. Oh, and then she was like, but you gave me the label. I don't care. And I was like, you
right.
don't? Because I thought you would.
It's interesting because she's had in the past like two or three maybe kind of freak out type things. But now in the span of this episode, she's had two or three moments where she hasn't been freaking out. So it's
Yeah.
almost like she's kind of even.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we'll
Now
see even going forward, even more moments where she maybe should freak out a little bit and she doesn't.
she's just like, okay, I'm gonna go get some water. And maybe she melts down by the water, but she's not like,
Not to
doing that to him.
Connor.
Well, I think that shows us how genuine she is. Like Mackenzie is like, okay, this is something that like my reactions are getting you to the point where you can't talk to me. All right, I really need to fix that. Like obviously she cares.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
it is.
Poor Mackenzie.
Poor Mackenzie. How the tides have turned.
Right.
Um, Calvin and Moira talk about PDA,
Oh.
and she mentions how she was only in one relationship before, but it lasted for 8 years. And
Isn't that crazy?
that is because
That's a
I
long
guess it was
time.
when she was like 18 and it lasted 8 years.
And
It's such a
now,
long time.
mhm.
And she's like 28 now. But she says PDA depends on her comfort. And he says he prefers to progress slowly with kissing and stuff. And I'm like, okay,
Okay.
interesting. Um,
From now on, when they go to bed, or Moira's laying down, and Calvin's just like sitting straight up, looking straight ahead in
right?
bed.
I'm
Like,
like,
what do
this is
you-
so awkward.
I think he's a
Carrington,
vampire. He
he
doesn't sleep.
is. He might be. Carrington chats with Lauren and he says, Kiersten won't allow me to talk to both of you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And
Yeah.
Lauren just seems over it. She's like, this is fucking stupid. And he's just going on all these things where he's like, oh, we can't be overly touchy. We can't do all this until I'm sure. And she goes, well, who said I was sure? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, period.
Let
Drag
him
him.
know.
That's all. These men are just constantly like,
Mm-hmm.
it just depends if I want to pursue this with you and I want to pursue that. And it's like what
Right.
Mackenzie said when James did the whole like, oh, he could have her. No, no one can have anyone. It's up to her to decide who she wants to be with. It's like, why do
Exactly.
you think you can call all the shots? Who's to say she's even gonna like wait or want you to be like that
Right.
after all
I'm
this?
glad. I'm glad she said that. And he kind of was just like, yeah, well, but when I decided, like he kind of dismissed it. And I was like, Carrington, you're doing a little too much, right? You're really feeling yourself right now. Like, okay, so we can't be too hands-on. We have to be I would like to be friends first. Like he is like, this is the way our relationship will go. And she's like, so I don't get a say at all.
Right. And I'm like, did Kiersten say you weren't allowed, or is it because like you're taking that because she's clearly annoyed that you like someone else?
Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, just say, I don't want to upset her. I know she's annoyed, but don't be like,
Yeah.
she won't allow this. Like, we can't talk. I'm like,
Right. We
what?
never heard her say that. you're acting like she's Mackenzie, and even Mackenzie is better now. So like you're
Right.
doing too much. You're doing too much. Nobody feels this way.
No. And so they go to bed. And then it's the next day, and Lauren's like, I'm gonna make everyone a full English breakfast. And I'm like, not Aaron. No. And she does make beans and toast and all this. And Caleb's like, she could have kept the potatoes and the mushrooms, but everything else was great. And I'm like, the mushrooms were a choice. It was a lot for breakfast. I'm like, do they just make anything?
She had tomatoes, canned beans. I guess we just have to try it. But
I'm
I
sure it's
don't,
good if made right.
yeah. I mean, it came out of a can, so how
Yeah.
good?
I just don't
How
know
good? I
about
mean, it
mushrooms.
must be good if it came out of a can and Caleb says it slaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see beans and toast being good.
Hmm.
It just depends. I
I don't
don't
really
know.
even like beans like that.
I don't either. It depends on the beans. And then
Yeah.
like I like potatoes. I don't know. We should go
I
to
don't like,
London
we
and try a
should.
breakfast.
I literally this week was like, I need to take a trip with Brandon. We have to. Let's see if our
Really?
podcast survives.
Yeah. It will. Maybe. No, it will. We could
I think I
pod.
could be reasonable as long as you're not mean to me.
I'm never mean. Oh my gosh.
Um, no, you're not. You're very playful, and sometimes it hurts my feelings a little bit, but only because I'm sensitive.
That's okay.
We have a little bit, I have to acknowledge it myself too. Like, that's funny, but like, damn.
No, I can't be. Sometimes I catch myself. I'm like, sometimes I just can't help it.
You're like, oh, I roasted the shit out of
I was
her.
like, ooh, maybe I should stop. And then
He's like, let me see if she gets mad, and then I'll apologize if I need
we'll see.
to.
But
No,
don't
we
let
should take
Maggie
a
fool
trip.
you.
That would
She
be
could be
fun.
mean too.
Oh, I definitely can. I definitely
Oh,
can.
Maggie loves to gaslight. Anyways, but so they have the English breakfast. Caleb gets a text, and we find out there's gonna be another recoupling,
Oh,
and that a
another
girl is going
recoupling.
home. And I'm like, ooh, this is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I kind of didn't expect this. Um, but I guess we should have because it's a very long episode.
Mm-hmm.
But Justine's freaking out. She pulls Trey for a chat, and she's like, you know what hurt me the most was you saying I was trying to purposely hurt you. And he's like, it's still like so hostile and
Yeah.
like keeps cutting her off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you picked Caleb to hurt me. And he's like, you never told me that you would pursue Caleb. And she's like, I definitely did say that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know if we saw her say that, but that's not to say she didn't say that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And while this is happening, Falling by Harry Styles is playing. And I'm like, this is great. I'm falling again. I'm falling. We sing that on my karaoke birthday. But I don't know why he won't let her talk. Like it's very annoying.
The drama. Oh, Trey, you're an actor. He's like, if you don't understand my perspective now, you never will. Okay. I guess we have to live in absolutes, Trey. Sure.
I
Uh,
hate when people say shit like that. I'm like, stop.
you don't know
Anyways.
what's gonna happen, but it's like you're definitely not even trying to like hear her out a little bit. I wouldn't, we didn't see what happened. Maybe in his, I mean, they both are probably both things are probably true. Like he probably told her, but maybe he felt like something she said was negated by what she did. I kind of feel like Trey might have selective hearing. Like you didn't
Yeah.
just tell me you're interested in getting to know Connor because when we were in bed, you told me you miss me.
It's
Like, what
like,
does that even mean? I miss you. You know what
right.
I mean? Like, what does that mean to you? So I have a feeling that she was trying to be upfront with him and like be open, and maybe he didn't hear her, or maybe he wasn't listening, or maybe he didn't think that's what she meant. There's some miscommunication, and he refuses to um participate in clearing it up. So I guess stay confused, Trey.
Right. We'll see how that goes for you, Trey.
Right.
But he pulls Lauren for a chat and he's like, there's nothing with Justine anymore. And
I'm
she's
basically single.
it's like, no, you were even single with Justine, but whatever. Um, and she's like, we've had fun. And they're like, oh, we need to talk more. And like, he's like, I'm open to coupling up with you. And he's just like, you'll be honest with me, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, for real? And she's like, yes. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
He's
Trey
like
is
scarred
triggered.
now.
Yeah, because he
Um,
said in the past girls haven't been honest with him, and that's like his pet peeve or whatever,
yeah. I'm like, I
or
wonder how
trigger
honest you've been with girls, but okay, try.
that part.
Um, but Rachel tells Kiersten and Moira about how she's taking a step back from her friendship with Justine. And then Justine and Selly chat, and Justine says, there may be something with Caleb. And Selly's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's like no spark with Caleb and Rachel. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
period. I love
That's kind
Selly
of
and Justine. I want
true.
to talk with them.
Me too. It would be so fun to hang out with them. But no, it's true. Now that I think after the I didn't think about it before, but now that I think about Rachel's relationship with Caleb, like they went on a date, they talked, they got to know each other, but we haven't really seen them a whole lot. Didn't
Yeah,
seem like there was a spark. Like I don't think they really are like physically close. Like there's no signs that they're really connecting. And I didn't think about it until all of this was happening because I kind of feel like it just was like Jeremiah dumped me and I was talking to you and it was kind of like they coupled up probably fast before really
yeah,
getting to know each other and then still haven't gotten to know each other a whole lot. Because I was
yeah,
surprised because I it gave me initially gave me the impression that oh, Caleb and Rachel are locked in. But Justine in the game, that was all it took for Caleb to start being like, "Oh, well, I am gonna consider it." You know, so he wasn't
right.
that locked in with her.
No, because we've only seen him talk maybe once or twice, and it's always been like pleasant, but it hasn't
Yeah.
been anything like, oh, look at this, like
Yeah.
sparks, like all that. And I'm
Right.
like, and I know Caleb had said, especially to Justine, he was like, oh, this is a long process, like it's gonna be slow.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like before it was kind of like he wasn't really connected with too many people, but like Jeremiah had ended it with Rachel. So like you said, Rachel picked Caleb.
Yeah.
And also, let's say that didn't happen. It wasn't like Moira and James had that drama. So it's just like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, James is gone. So I don't know. It was kind of just like I feel like had Jeremiah not ended things with Rachel, Caleb probably would have been gone.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to Carrington, and for the 18th thousand time, he's just telling Lauren that she's attractive and want to keep like talking to her. It's like, okay, cool. Anyways, Rachel and Caleb chat, and he's like, we need to hang out more. And he's like, nothing has changed, and you shouldn't worry about tonight. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
when did you say
And
this?
and Rachel kind of like gets at him a little bit and is basically like, yeah, I mean, I do want to talk to you more, but now it's weird because you're getting to know me and Justine.
It's
It's
like,
like,
okay, you could still get to know him. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know, girl.
That should make you want to get to know him more. You're in competition.
Right.
You
Like,
got to
why
get your
aren't you
man.
guys talking? I don't understand.
Yeah. Justine and Caleb chat. And she's like, I have to start going for what I want. And what I want is you. And you brought out the boldness in me. And Caleb tells us that there's a connection issue with Rachel. And he's leaving
Mm-hmm.
his convo with Justine more confused. And
Mm-hmm.
we're like, so you don't like Rachel and you like Justine. Got it.
Yeah.
Um, And then it's just the rest of it before the recoupling. I didn't write too many specifics, but it was basically
Yeah.
just like everyone like weighing their options. I mean, like, I could do this. And then Carrington's in the corner. In case anyone was wondering, I do find Lauren attractive and I could be happier with Kiersten, just in case you were wondering. And then Calvin's just like, I don't want to kiss Moira. And then Trey's like, I can't believe Justine picked Caleb
Yeah.
after saying
But
he doesn't want to be with me.
I feel like I heard him say too, but you can't rule out Justine. So I was like, were you
I think he did at one point. He was like, I slept on it. And I was just like, at what is this editing? Because you just had this conversation, if we're supposed to believe today, where you were still upset. So
No,
like,
he was wearing the same clothes. So I
so
have
then
a
what the?
feeling he said that in the morning. I'm still
Yeah,
waiting because they got the text in the morning, right?
I think so.
Maybe this is after the text. They're getting dressed for the day because all the boys are in their like locker room, dressing
Yeah, and
room
he was
thing.
probably like, oh, maybe
Can't
I
rule her
like,
out
yeah. And then
before
he
they
talked
spoke.
with her, and he was just like, yes, I can.
I'm done.
I'm
I'm done
done.
with you.
I can't be with her. Um, so then we get to the recoupling. And Calvin goes first. He picks Moira, and he says, "Sunshine shines through her eyes and lights up the whole villa." And I'm like, "Wow, what a poet."
Wow.
Uh, Johnny picks Sally. Connor picks Mackenzie. And this is where he says she helped him discover his purpose being here. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Connor said a whole lot of nothing. Like, I want to couple up with this girl
You hate
because
her.
she helped me discover my purpose in the villa and my opportunity in the villa and potentially outside of the villa to become a better man because of this opportunity. Like, what? This is not an interview. You don't need to hit a word count.
I
What are you
was just
talking
about to say, do
about?
you have a word count or like a quota for the day? Like, what are you saying?
Connor, you're an actor. I am convinced now. Like, are you also in a traveling family acting band,
Rob
acting troupe?
2.0. I can't. Carrington picks Kiersten, which cool. Trey picks Lauren. Trey with his hat. I was like, I can't. And then Caleb, it's between Justine and Rachel, and he
Oh
ends up
yeah.
picking Justine. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone is shook. Sally looks like, oh my gosh, what the fuck? Trey is like, damn it. And I put my
Mm-hmm.
witch's hat on to cast a spell to get Justine out, and she's still here. No. Uh,
Oh, that's
and
so funny. No, the girls were upset because Sally started crying before the decision was made, and so was Kiersten. They were both crying.
yeah, and it was kind of sad, but then Rachel's dumped from the villa, and then
Oh, sorry, Brandon. As soon as we get the decision, we go, turn around. Every now and then
then
I
I
get
get
a
a little
little
bit
bit
nervous,
lonely.
and then I see the look in your eyes, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart, and
I'm
I need you now tonight. That's such a good
well,
song.
they played the whole thing,
They
so we
really
got to
did.
hear all the lyrics.
I'm like,
Like
yes.
Justine or Rachel's packing and stuff, and the song is still going. I was like,
Total
not turn
eclipse of
around.
the heart.
As soon as the girls go to hug her, turn around. I
Every
was like,
now
I
and then
can't.
I fall apart. I'm like, oh, they're like all sad. This is kind of sad. I was sad
It
because
is
I
a
like
little.
Rachel, but I am glad Justine stayed.
I would have been sad if they didn't turn that song on. I was cracking up. I was so tickled. I was like, this is funny.
It was. As she's packing though,
Yeah.
Caleb does apologize and he's like, I didn't do this like to go against you and like I really wish we got to talk before. And I'm like, I feel like we've heard this before, like even with Rob, where he tried to say, like, oh, I didn't get a chance to talk to Leah. It sounds like there comes a point where like they're not supposed to interact, maybe
Maybe.
before a ceremony. I guess, but I'm
Ah,
like, if you're next to each other, I feel like you could like if you really had something to say, you could say it.
yeah, and like, yeah, that's true, the production side of it. But they spoke. We saw them speak. And he was like, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. Granted, if it was
So,
before his chat with Justine, but I'm like, you probably were. Maybe you shouldn't have just sold it. Maybe you should have been like, I don't know.
yeah.
Don't tell her she has nothing to worry about.
Right. Or he said something to the effect of like, I'm thinking about it, but like, you know, I
You're
have a tough
good.
choice. I'm not gonna take it lightly. But yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't seem like I thought he was gonna pick her. I thought Justine was gonna come back through a twist or something.
They probably would have because I
Yeah.
think Twitter liked her all season. I know she was just very popular.
Yeah.
Um, but she tells us she's like, I'm shocked. I'm at a loss for words because essentially what I hate to say is that Caleb did in fact lie to me. And I feel
Hmm.
very betrayed. But I do love everyone, and it's been a great experience. Cut to Justine. About damn time if girl Justine gets something good happen to her. Yes. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah. And she
it's
didn't
so
cry. She didn't even seem upset. So, it was sad to see Rachel go, but I don't
yeah.
think she had that deep of a connection with Caleb.
No.
He was open to exploring things with Justine. You gotta let if that's how he feels at the end of the day, then you wouldn't want him to just pick you out of obligation. Because the guys in their conversations before kind of made it seem like that, like, oh, remember, she picked you. And he's like, she did. She did pick me. She did pick
Yeah.
me. She did save me from the last recoupling. She did. But
But you
I like
never know.
Justine.
And they're like, but
Yeah.
Rachel, because we want Justine to go. And he's like,
Yeah. I
but
think that was like
anyways.
Trey plotting a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bye,
But yeah, so bye Rachel, you'll be missed. We did
Rachel.
like you. I didn't, it's
Hmm.
crazy. I was thinking, I was like, wow, I thought at one point Jeremiah and Rachel were like a strong couple, and now they're both gone.
That's crazy to
I was
think
like,
about.
oh
No, you're
shit.
right. Looks can really be this. It's hard. They show two people making out twice, and we're like, they're in love, and then it's like, nah, I actually
The
didn't
next
care about
episode,
her at
they're
all.
like, there's no spark. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
All right.
Um, so that was the long episode 9. So we're gonna jump into episode 10. It was kind of
There's not a
fluff.
whole lot.
I
Yeah.
don't have as long of notes, so we can kind of like we'll go through it, but like there
Hmm.
probably won't be too much deep conversation. Um,
In the beginning, the moderator or the narrator calls Trey Fedora the
I
Explorer.
remember
I lost
I
my
was like,
shit. I was
yes,
like,
drag
you're
him.
officially funnier than Ian Sterling. Cause what? And I don't even think his hat was a fedora, but it's still fucking funny.
It
Cause it's like
wasn't, but it was like
it's
a
the flat one with the
fedora-esque.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Not Fedora the Explorer.
I love that. Um, Caleb's like, oh, having power is too much pressure. And he's like, basically, Justine, I didn't want to see you go home. She's
Hmm.
excited.
Hmm.
And then this was funny, Justine and Sally talking. And
Oh
Sally's like,
yeah.
I thought you were gonna go. I was like, my girl, no, I'm gonna have to go with her. I'm like,
Yeah, and Justine was like, "You were crying. You doubted my game. You thought I was out." And they were both
she's
cracking
like,
up,
I
and I was like, "This
did.
is so funny." She's like, "You're right, girl. I did. I thought you were a goner."
uh, but then this
Mhm.
is where Trey's like, I feel on top of the world. I have the hottest girl in the villa.
I'm
And
like, y'all barely know each other. Shut up.
right. And they're
She
like,
doesn't
I'm
even like
excited.
you.
She doesn't. They're like, we're excited to get to know each other. And she's like, maybe this will turn into something romantic. Who knows?
So obviously, there's no spark or even thought right now that that could happen.
Right.
So, Brandon, do you think the boys had a chat and they were like, okay, is Lauren staying or going? Because I could pick like Johnny. Well, obviously not Johnny, but I feel like Carrington or Trey could have picked her. So do you think they spoke and Trey was like, I will pick her. You can pick Kiersten,
They
Because,
probably did
yeah.
because I think Carrington was gonna pick Kiersten based off his conversations. And I guess, I mean, Trey maybe would have liked to have picked Kiersten, as we'll
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like at this point, since Carrington and Kiersten were still good, it
Hmm.
was like, oh no, I'll pick Kiersten. And like Trey was
Okay.
like, well, I'm not with Justine, so I'll pick Lauren.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
more sense. Yeah.
yeah, because and then Carrington and Kiersten chat, and he's like, I'm happy about my choice, but he doesn't look happy at all. He's like, I'm so happy with this choice. With this, I'm really happy with this choice. Yeah, I'm just so happy with this choice.
You did that a little too well, Brandon. That's like exactly how
He's always
Carrington.
turned 3/4. I'm like, and then he's like,
Have
he moves with his hair. Like his hair goes this way, and so his head's like that. I'm like, what are
uh-huh.
we doing?
Does your
Your
neck
hair's not
hurt?
that heavy.
Brandon, have we seen him smile?
Not that I recall. I don't think
I've
so.
seen him cry and I've seen him smolder.
But never
Never
smile.
a smile.
Uh, And she's basically like, I don't want to talk to anyone else, even though you're not on the same page. I'm like, girl, please have more self-respect. You can do so much better. But whatever.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Options are limited. Um,
Yeah.
Kiersten and Mackenzie chat. They bond over Lauren coming for their men. And apparently Lauren told Mackenzie she was never into Connor. But Kirsten's like,
hmm
that's interesting. That's suspicious
That's
because
suspicious.
Lauren told Connor, or Lauren told Kiersten that Connor was a completely different person on their date,
hmm
which is true. And then Mackenzie's like, oh, interesting. So then this awkward moment happens where she sees Connor and Lauren chatting. She's
hmm
basically like, oh, will you like, can we chat, Connor? And he's like, what? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. And it's like he can't hear her and he's like dancing around. He's like, you want to chat or do you want to chat with her? And Lauren's like, I think she wants to chat with you.
Yeah. It's
And
like, okay, Rob.
right?
Me? Me? No,
No,
her.
her, yeah,
Yes, you,
you.
stupid.
And she tells him what Kirsten said, and he admits to holding her hand, but he won't touch on the wanting to get to know her part.
When he says that, she's like, he goes, we did hold hand, and she's like, her
I'm like,
jaw drops.
really? I
You held
guess.
hands? She's like,
I can't
she's
believe
trying with all
this.
her might to keep it together.
Right. And she does.
Yeah.
She
And she
does.
does. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but he's
It's
like,
not.
yes, I
But she's
did.
freaked out for less. So
Yep.
this is good. But he's just being shady and he lies and he says he hasn't been telling her he's interested, but as we know, he has been.
Yeah. Cause he's like, we held hands, and she's like, okay. And he's like, I'm sorry. And Mackenzie's like, did you not share that because you knew I'd be uncomfortable with y'all talking if I knew that? And Connor's like,
Good question.
since then, I've made it clear that I'm not interested. Mackenzie says it's okay, and they like go to change or whatever. And I'm just like, he's being super manipulative. And like, because you're right. I don't think that it's clear. I haven't heard him tell Lauren that he's not interested. So maybe he did, but I didn't
Not
hear
that
him.
I didn't hear it. We must have missed that part.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm just like, I need Mackenzie to talk to Lauren, and I need
that part.
them to like really just to get the truth. Because Lauren will say
Yeah.
it if Mackenzie asks, I think, but
Yeah, and Mackenzie asks good ass questions.
she does. She gets down to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sally and Johnny have a cute moment where he's like doing her
Oh,
nails, and I'm like, ah, I love you all together, but I know you're a dog, so try
yeah.
not to
I'm
enjoy
happy,
it too
but I'm
much.
sad. Right.
Happy and sad at the same time. Um, Casey Musgraves, love you. Um, Connor and Mackenzie chat again.
Don't sound so disappointed, Branson.
I wrote Connor McKenzie chat again. Oh my God, stop. Because they're
Yeah,
just like, oh my God, she wants to continue to move past this and he's happy about it. And it's like, okay, you
yeah,
got away with being a liar, Connor. Great. Y'all say the
yeah.
same thing every episode.
Basically. And in her confessional, Mackenzie's like, I regret like my actions. I'm sorry that I put him in positions where he felt like he couldn't talk to me. I wasn't aware, but she was like, she told him, don't lie to me again. Like, okay, we'll move past it, but don't lie to me again. So she's being
Right.
super level-headed. You gave Mackenzie feedback. Hey girl, you do too much. She's like, do I? Do I? Three people had to tell her it's fine. Sometimes you need additional data to make a choice. And
Yeah.
since then, she has been super level-headed. When she feels herself, I think when she feels herself getting upset, she takes some space. Because like this last conversation, she told Connor, "Okay, I'm gonna go take a shower or something," and then she came back to the conversation, very level-headed. Mackenzie, I love to see a proactive queen who takes some feedback and uses it. Almost no
She
one ever does that in
does.
reality
They
TV.
don't. It's kind of shocking. I'm like, okay, Mackenzie, like this is good. Like I feel like I'm
Yeah.
starting to like Mackenzie.
Yeah, I love Mackenzie.
We'll see if it sticks, but at least right now, you're doing great.
I mean, I I still even liked her when she was tripping because I get it.
It was entertaining, but it was
When
just like,
she,
really?
yeah, no, I loved Mackenzie after she told James about himself. I was like,
That
girl, bring
was
him
good.
all the way together.
That was the thing.
James
She
was
would have
yelling and
such good
stuff.
moments.
Yes, she's had great moments. James was yelling and stuff, and she had the balls to be like, look at you.
She's like, shut
Stop.
up.
He did. I could
Uh,
never. Angry man. I don't know, but she stood up to him. She was like,
right.
you're doing too much. And then after it was like, oh, respect
I'm
Mackenzie.
not
Give
doing
her
anything at
respect.
all. What do you mean? And it's like, oh my God, I do not miss him.
Not at
Um,
all.
Everyone goes to bed, but there's this moment where Trey's like, Lauren, do you snore? And she's like, no. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yes. But then he's the one who snores. And it's actually atrocious. She can't sleep. She goes into like the diary room and is just like, is this real? And I'm like, there's nothing like that is the worst thing when you're trying to sleep and the person next to you is
Oh
just like
my
snoring so
gosh.
loud.
Head back, mouth open. She's like, I'm gonna cry. What's the remedy? How do I even fix it? Lauren is so funny and she's not even trying to be. What's the remedy? Girl, that's hilarious.
It is because honestly, like I get that too, because like I would never be able to like sleep next to someone who snores loud like that. I already can't fall asleep. So
Yeah,
like if you're loud like that, and it's just like obnoxious. I remember
it is.
once, like when I was younger, we were on like a family trip, and someone in my family, we had shared a hotel room. There was two beds. Someone in my family, I won't say who, I won't put them on blast, but they were snoring very loud. And at one point I yelled, "Are you kidding me? Like, is this real?" They did wake up, but I was like, I
That's
can't. Like, this
funny.
is actually stupid. Like,
Can I
what
fall asleep before you so that I don't have to hear this?
honestly, like, do you snore, Maggie?
No, well, I don't think so, but somebody told me once that I do. I don't think so. Obi snores, but I don't hear it. Well, sometimes, but like it doesn't really bother me at all.
Yeah, if
But
it's like an every now and then snore, it's fine. But when it's that
yeah,
like consistent, it's
it's
like,
bad.
I can't.
I think it's also because I was watching like shows to fall asleep, so I wasn't even really like that wasn't what my ears were focused on. But
Yeah.
one time I did go on a trip for work with and I had to share a room with my boss and she snored. So I got earplugs and it was fine.
Well, that's good at least.
The earplugs helps.
Uh, it's the next day, and Justine says to Calvin that Caleb is the best. Okay, yeah, they're feeling each other. And then Kiersten gets a
Hmm.
text that her and Carrington are going on their first date, which this was kind of random.
This is so random. So maybe they did sporadic dates? I don't
I
know.
Yeah, I guess. It
And why
was
not Johnny and Sally?
right. They go horseback riding and then end up on a picnic. And the whole
Hmm.
time, Carrington's just posing as if he's on like a romance novel. Just like, oh yeah, let me get my angles. And Kirsten's actually trying to like ride it. And
Hmm.
like she's like, I can't wait to see Utah if we like make it to the end and like see where you like live and all that. And he's like, you know, I think we should talk about the things we don't like about each other.
They do. He's like, so tell me, like, let's dig a little deeper. Tell me what you don't like. And it's like, all right,
Okay.
okay. Well, it was also weird how he's like, is this what you do all day in your hometown? Ride horses?
I'm like, I'm sure she does
No,
every now and then, but like, what do you mean?
this is
Like,
like not, I mean, we're not in, it's 2020, 2020. Like, we go to work, we go to the grocery store, we go home. We're not on horses every day, Carrington.
right. And she's just like, I need more reassurance. And he's like, I'm the opposite, but I can work on communication. And it's like, okay,
Mm,
that's cool. They cut back to the hotel villa. And Mackenzie's like, Carrington's a lot more charming and adorable than I thought he would be based off the first day. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, I mean, he's definitely changed since the first day. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
better, but he's changed.
Yeah. She
Um,
clocked what we saw. She was like, he's not as confident. He's more like
yeah,
like different. And I was like, true.
right. And this is where a plot twist happens, and Trey's like, I wish Carrington would have picked Lauren because I really like Kiersten, but I don't know how to approach it. We're like, where the fuck is this coming from?
Oh my gosh. I think Trey literally wants people that other people have.
Yeah.
Because the chase for Lauren ended, it's like, but Kiersten. And it's like, Kiersten has literally been here the whole time, Trey. We've never heard you say this. I mean,
No.
like, okay, yeah, you probably develop feelings over time. It's just like the timing is crazy. The timing is crazy. And you also kind of have a pattern of like wanting people that other people have.
Yeah, it was just very random.
Yeah. Because he
Um,
probably thought, I think he thought that Lauren was going to be all over him and fall for him. And she's obviously not. She's sleeping on the other side of the bed. You snore, you're loud. She's like low key having a worse time now, coupled up with you. You probably see it and you're like, okay, who else is here? Who else? Oh, Kiersten.
Kiersten.
Yeah.
Oh, and they get back to the date, and Carrington's like, what's your lifestyle? And she like works in bottle service and does something else. And she's like, basically, the industry I work in, it's very draining. And he's like, yeah, the thing about me is I can't live in a party scene because then I won't reach
Mm-hmm.
my goals. And I'm like, his vibe is just completely atrocious. I can't stand it. It's also confusing because I followed him on Instagram recently and he seems to be out and about a lot. But sure, you
That's
don't like
so
to party.
funny.
Maybe times have changed. Um,
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't, the way you're seeing him talking to her is not how I saw it. I just saw it as like a meh, like they're having a conversation, they're on a date, they're having a good time. But your interpretation is really funny. Um, yeah, I don't know. Now that you say it like that, I'm like, yeah, the conversation was kind of weird. Instead of what are we connecting on, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, tell me what you hate. All right. Tell me your lifestyle. Yep, hate that lifestyle. Can't do
right. He's
I
like
hate your
finding
lifestyle.
reasons to be like, we're just not compatible.
Well, but she did say like she doesn't want to be in the bottle service stuff. Like she doesn't want
Yeah,
to be doing that anymore. And he's like, yeah, because the thing about
that's
me is like that's too
perfect.
much. Yeah. So I
If
don't.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna get
maybe he
millions for my company again in
is.
sales, I can't be partying.
He was a hard worker.
Hmm. Sally and Lauren chat, and Sally thinks there may be something with Lauren and Carrington, and that his body language when talking to her is very telling.
Hmm.
And Lauren's like, his thing with Kiersten is stale. And I'm like,
Hmm.
it low key is, but that may just be Carrington. I think Carrington's just stale.
Yeah,
He's like a stale saltine.
I think it's the same thing with Connor. Like Carrington is telling her one thing and then doing something else.
Yeah,
And so she does, I don't know if her read is that good either.
right. Johnny thinks him and Sally are the realest in here.
Hmm.
I guess I would say the same. I don't like that you say it, but like I'll agree with you. And Sully's just like, I've never dated someone similar to me as you are, and he's like, I'm a one woman man and I'm all about you. And I'm like, I guess we'll have to wait till Casa to see if that's true.
Yeah, I was like, dang, I see why this is so bad.
Hmm.
But it's cute in the moment. Sally eats it up. She's like, I'm so happy. And I'm like, I'm so sad for you.
Sally, you deserve the world.
You do.
Um, Justine and Caleb chat and they bond over family, being family centric. And Justine thinks her mom would be happy with like him.
Hmm.
And he's like, I love that you're into family. And it's a cute, like, relatable moment where they're just getting like kind of closer. And instead of talking about wanting to get to know each other, they seem to actually be getting to know each other, which is nice.
Yes. At the end, Justine is like, do you love me yet? And he's like, oh. And I was like, I love her sense of humor. Like, we haven't seen this yet. Like,
Right.
Justine, how do you lock these men in? Tell us. It's the humor, it's the charm, it's the personal narrative. That's what we need.
It's all of it.
Hmm.
Um, on the other end of the spectrum, we have
Oh
Calvin and Moira,
gosh.
who have the most awkward conversation. And she's like, I'm just so
Hmm.
smitten with you. And like, I don't think my head could turn. And he's like, yeah, our connection's strong, but I do plan on getting to know other girls. And I'm like,
It's ooh, jab twist. Like,
I know
oh,
it's just
okay.
so awkward. And I'm like, but he's like, I'm still into you. And this is where I'm like, I don't think he's into her. And then
Yeah.
Moira fills Justine in, and she's like, we're not on the same page as far as PDA. And it's just kind of confusing, but like, I'm still into him. And this is where Calvin does tell Caleb that he initially felt a spark, but normally he's looking for fireworks and he's just not that
Yeah.
into her. And I'm like, damn.
Nobody's honest in this villa, in this hotel villa, except for Justine and now
Right.
Caleb.
Exactly. I'm like, okay. It's nighttime. Kiersten and Carrington return. And, she's telling the girl, she's like, it was fun. And, I was happy to show him me and my element. And then, to kind of my surprise, Carrington's like, oh, it was fun. And I feel like I got to know her better. And we had much smoother conversation. But, she's definitely giving me more effort than I'm giving her.
Yeah, and he's
I'm
like,
like,
I think he says he feels bad about it.
yeah, we'll see.
So I don't think the date was as dry as you saw, or it was you were initially thinking. I actually think he kind of cares about her a little bit and
I
is
think,
noticing that he's being kind of like a dick.
eh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he cares about her. He's just confusing. I just don't know where his head's at.
Yeah.
I'm like, do
Yeah.
you even know what you want? Like,
Right.
I don't
Because
know.
I think the problem with beautiful people is we like the idea of them. We like the idea of what it could be like to be with them, right? Like I see people I don't know, and I'm like, oh, the relationship would be like this and this. And we can really see Harrington it lives in a fantasy in his head about Lauren. But
Yeah,
reality is a lot different. And I think he's maybe realizing that. Like you even how he speaks to her is as if it's not, it's like this way, and she's like, but what about how I feel and what I would think about that? And you know what I mean?
right.
So I think he's realizing that he has like a good connection and he doesn't really know Lauren enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna leave
Yeah,
Kiersten.
he's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, but she does tell the girls, like, he's not all in, and I do know that. And Mackenzie, with the sage advice, is just like, you can't ignore that. Like, that's
Hmm.
something you gotta like take into consideration. And period.
Hmm. Mackenzie's
Um,
so wise.
they then play like just games the rest of the night. They play like the
Yeah.
balloon popping game, and it was kind of like whatever. They were just like humping each other, and it was just like,
Yeah.
they were having a good time. Then they play Never Have I Ever, where, they're just kind of like all kissing each other. But then this is where Calvin and Moira have their first passionate kiss. And
Yeah.
Calvin says he wishes it lasted longer than 5 seconds. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's starting to be more into her.
Yeah, because she tells Justine that she's like worried that he's not being physical with her so he can keep his options open. And this kind of like blurs those lines a little bit. So we'll see what comes of it if it changes how he feels.
Yeah. And then Connor gets a text that the hideaway's open again already.
Oh
And
boy.
Mackenzie's like, okay, we got it. And they're like, oh, do you want it? And she's like, yeah, kind of. And Moira's like, well, shouldn't we talk about it? And Mackenzie's like,
Don't challenge me, wench.
silence, leg. You want to break your other one?
Silence, cripple, before I take your crutches away.
I will throw your crutches in the fire, bitch. You'll be having to rely on Calvin for a lot more than just walking. You better shut up. I'm like, oh my
It's so
gosh.
awkward. So
Oh,
awkward. I feel bad too because like it's a valid question, Mackenzie. Relax.
it
Because last
is
time
like,
it was like, oh, give it to Sally and Johnny, and it was like kind of just a mutual. Sally and Johnny didn't volunteer.
yeah. It's like let them decide on you. Like maybe they would, but like let it like I don't know, let them talk about
Happen.
it. Damn. Um, but so we leave off in there a little cliffhanger. But then we get notified that it's America's vote, and we have 30 minutes
Hmm.
after the episode ends to vote for the most compatible couple. Maggie, who did you vote for?
No one, but who would I vote for? I don't. Most compatible.
I would have
Oh,
voted for
Johnny and
Johnny and
Sally.
Sally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I feel like they
easy.
probably got that. I would say of
Yeah, I think
everyone
they
because
did
they're the
too.
longest one at this point.
Hmm.
They seem good.
And they're the
Um,
cutest.
right. But then we learn, I think a couple might be dumped or someone's gonna be dumped.
Yeah.
which I wonder if it's gonna be like whatever couple received the lowest amount of votes.
Oh, because that's kind of what happened last season, or the one we
Yeah.
watched.
Or will it be a twist like last season where it's like they have to pick? Like, I don't know. But
We'll have to
we'll
see. Yeah.
see. I'm excited to see. I wonder who's gonna go. Who do you think will go?
Ooh, it might be Calvin and Moira. It might be Connor and Mackenzie, but I think they like Connor and Mackenzie enough to keep them around. It could
Yeah.
even be Trey and Lauren, but
It
I think
could be. I could see them getting the least amount of votes because they literally aren't compatible at all.
right.
But then I'm like,
Like
but
Lauren
I
doesn't
hope
even like him.
people like Lauren because I like Lauren, so I want Lauren to
Yeah,
stay.
right.
So I don't know.
It's so interesting how a bombshell be bombing, and all the guys are like, she is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. And then
You are
she's like at risk of
beautiful.
going home. Like, make it make sense. She's
Right.
like getting a basically a sympathy pick from Trey. Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll
Excited to
see.
see. This season's heating up. I think we
It
say it like every episode. We're
is.
like, ooh, this season's just getting better and
It's
better.
getting better and better, yeah. And like, this has been fun to watch. Obviously, these people, we don't really know them. We're coming to conclusions based off of what we see. Give them grace. And I mean, obviously they're different people now. Mackenzie is this mature,
Hopefully.
more mature, hopefully. But we don't know them, so we don't know. But it's fun to break it down.
It is. It's funny because I just posted a TikTok of Jeremiah and Johnny singing, and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, I forgot this happened.
This is good. No, we got to get some clips together and stitch them and get some things resurfacing.
Yes, yes. Someone said apparently there's going to be rapping at one point,
Oh,
so
all right.
we'll have to stay tuned for that.
I'm
Um,
excited.
but in the meantime, I think that's it for today's episode.
Hmm.
Next episode, are we going to cover 3 episodes?
Let's try. Are they
Or
each 45 minutes? Because
I
we
think
basically
they
did that
are.
today.
Episode 11 is an hour and a half, but it's the recap unseen moment, so we don't
So
go
we'll
over
skip
that
it.
one. So we can
Hmm.
skip. So maybe 12, 13, 14 if they're
I
in the
think we could do
40s.
that.
I think we can do that. We got time.
I'm gonna check real quick, but I think, yeah, 12 is 43, 13 is 43, 14 is 43.
Period. Let's do it. We got time.
Let's do it.
Yes. So stay tuned for that, y'all. And in the meantime, y'all should rate us 5 stars and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Rate us five
Hmm.
star on Spotify. You know,
Hmm.
if you want to see our beautiful faces instead of just listening to us, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Shade of It All podcast. We're gonna be posting on Instagram soon at the Shade of It All pod. Maggie figured out how she wanted it to
Yes.
look, so we're gonna do that soon.
We got a
So
plan.
follow us. And then also follow our TikTok. We stay posting clips, State of It All podcast. And yeah, in the meantime, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.